Hello, hello. Welcome to the premiere, the return of my show. Y'all, I have been I have been not doing this for so long. I had to take a little trip down memory lane to try to remember how to set everything up. So hopefully everything goes smoothly. Thank you for your patience. Shout out to Isaac for being the first one in the comments. Hello, sir. Good to see you. Akila, good to see you. Very excited for tonight's show because I have a lot of juicy questions, things that I'm going to be asking the panel today. I have invited you guys to submit questions. If you have anything that you want me to ask the guys, you can go to my Instagram story and submit it, or you can ask it here in the comments if you're watching on YouTube. But I'm going to see if I have any extra time. I have a very sneaky feeling that we're not going to be able to answer everything all together today. We might have to do a part 2, but that's okay. Y'all pray for me because there's a lot of stuff that I have to do with this system. And it's like riding a bike. I'm trying to remember everything. Brittany says I have a glow. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. I'm actually using my good lighting today. So that might be it. All right, so let me get into just a couple of little church announcements, and then we are going to jump into the show. If you guys are not already, please go ahead and follow me on Instagram. I'm at Chasing Yonci, just like my name here on YouTube. We have a lot of fun on my Instagram. One of the things that I like the most is the polls. I conduct polls where I ask men and women certain questions, things they might not want to answer publicly, but you can anonymously vote. And then I post all the results for my patrons. So if you guys are not on my Instagram, make sure you follow me and you guys can see a lot of the funny videos that I do with my guy and just a bunch of other stuff. But for now, we are going to be going live every Tuesday at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And if you haven't figured that out, that's 7 o'clock Central and that is 5 o'clock Pacific. If you are outside of the US, I'm sorry, you're just going to have to Google it. But I tend to put a timer in my IG stories. So if you can't figure it out, look at the timer and you see how many hours before we get started. Shout out to Rachel. I like to say hi to the first couple of people who come on. Once we get started, it's a little harder to. But the first couple of people, thank you so much for being punctual, for being on time. You're definitely not on CB time. Oh, hey, Foxy. Nice to see you. She is always consistent on Instagram. All right, guys. So I am going to, let's see. See, doggone it. Where is... Oh, this is where I want to be. Y'all, I'm telling you, I have not done this in so long. It's hard to do the camera and do all the little stuff on the graphics or whatever, but I'm holding on. Okay, I see a couple more of you. Let me say hi. We got Miles tuning in. Hello. And Darnell. Hey, Darnell. I believe he is one of my subscribers on Instagram. Thank you. Special love to my subscribers on Instagram. You guys, let me know where you are watching. Drop your city and state. And I'm going to get these guys here on camera. We're going to bring them all in and they can introduce themselves and we will get started. All right. So let's get them in. Drop your city and state and I will shout you out. You've got about 30 more seconds. So make sure you submit it now. Imani is joining us. Hello, Imani. All right, so guys, I got the guys in the green room. Make sure you guys turn on your cameras. You can unmute yourself. And then we will get started, guys. All right, I'm gonna get everything set up here. Welcome. You can be heard on YouTube. They can't see you just yet, but give me a second because I am running everything on my end. And so let me get all this stuff together. Y'all, right now, I don't pay for the, what is the nice one, StreamYard? So we're doing the bootleg version. So I got to make sure all my screens are good. StreamYard does everything for you. All right, guys. But drop your city and states. I'm going to shout you out in just a second. All right. Let's see. Oh, I know why it's doing that. Sorry, guys. There we go. The people who've been with me for a while, they know. I'll be struggling to get it together. Once we get going, we're all good. Okay. We got, let's see, we have Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. We have Maryland and New Orleans in the house. Y'all, I need to not be cheap because it's a lot trying to switch. We got New Orleans house. Where are you guys watching from? I'm going to have you guys introduce yourselves. Just 1 second, guys. I wish you guys could see what I could see because it's a lot. Okay. Finally. All right, guys. Now you can see what I'm looking at. It totally switches the screen around, you guys. I did all the work behind the scenes, making sure everybody was nice and orderly on the screen, and then everything goes wonky. So I need to just stop being cheap and get StreamYard because they do all the adjusting. All right, a couple more shout outs. We have Nashville, Tennessee, Birmingham. Oh, in the UK, we got Chicago in the house. Catherine is waving. She is Atlanta from Boston. So, all right, so let me see who is here with us. We've got one person with Zoom user as your name. So if you would like to be addressed by something, if you want to be addressed by something other than that, all right, guys. See, this is what I mean about my screen. I'm telling you, I'm being cheap. I need to just pay for the system that does it on its own. But hang on, guys. Let me get them situated on the video. I know it's off right now. When someone new comes in, it changes the layout, and so I have to manually adjust it, so I apologize. All right, there we go. That's a little bit better. Okay, if you need your name change, I could do it for you. I think it's much easier on my end, especially if you're on a cell phone. What would you like yours to say?
Devin, Devin.
All right. Nope, I don't want to make you host. I almost clicked the wrong thing. Although I could use the co-host right now. All right, so we have Devin here. Hello, Devin.
Hello.
We have Bryant on the other side of me. Hello. We have, I'm going to have you pronounce it. I'm not going to butcher your name. Eteks. You're muted, love. How do you pronounce it?
Etekamba, Nigeria.
I'm going to say Nigeria. Excellent.
Oh, you can try. See, Ete first, then Kamba. Ete. Kamba.
Kamba. Ete Kamba. Okay.
Nice.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, sound was kind of going in and out, so that and me not wanting to mess it up, I'm like, let me not. Okay. And so we have Ivan next. Ivan, where are you tuning in from? You could be as specific or as vague as you want. You could say US.
Hi, Charlotte, North Carolina.
Okay, very nice. All right, we have LSC. Is that how you would like to be referred, or would you like me to change it for you?
We can change it. It's Sean. I mostly use Zoom. I'm in the military.
Okay.
I use Zoom for the military. That's my rank.
Now, are you an EAN or SH?
EAN, like Sean Connery. That's EAN.
Okay. All right, so I got you. And where are you tuning in from?
I am in Charleston, South Carolina.
Oh, very nice. All right. And then we have another name that I am going to struggle with. At the bottom, he already knows. Go ahead and unmute yourself, sir, please.
Quabena.
One more time.
Quabena.
Quabena?
Yeah, Quabena. Tuesday born boy. That's what it means.
Oh, all right. I love this. Very, very cool. Well, I want to say it takes a lot of bravery to come on, especially if you're not somebody who is used to being in the public eye. So I appreciate you. If anybody, just a couple of little announcements. If anybody has any devices that are on, go ahead and mute them because it will reverberate and play back for everybody here through your mic. So make sure you've muted any other devices. It does sound like there's a little bit of background noise that's coming. If there is something that's happening that you can't control, just mute yourself for the time being and then unmute when you get a chance. Again, for my viewers, I apologize for the ghetto layout, you guys. I have to manually adjust, and if you guys know Zoom adjusts depending on the number of people on the screen. So I'm going to do my best to not have it look ghetto, but y'all might get some ghetto visuals from time to time. Okay? It just is what it is. All right, so I would like to see, out of you guys, I'm not going to put anyone on blast as far as specifics of singleness, but we will say married or unmarried. I'm going to go in the same order to keep things easy. So I'm going to go Delvin and then Brian, and then we're just going to go the same direction that I went before. ET and K-Dub, I might call you ET and K-Dub so I don't mess you up. All love. Okay. So we'll start with Devin. Are you married or not married?
I am single. Ain't no married dude. I'm single. I'm single. I was married a long time ago, but I'm single, super single.
Okay. I had to do that. Y'all welcome to do that. I just didn't want to put anyone out there because, you know, someone might be on the cusp of a boo. And
I'm single.
okay.
No obligations to nobody.
I like that. I like that. By the way, if you would like, and I completely forgot to put this in the email, if you guys would like to include your IG name in your name, you can do that because you never know what kind of blessings might come from being on here. We have a lot of single ladies who are watching. So again, if you don't know how to change it, just comment in the little chat box and then I will put it up there. Just be advised that the chat box does pop up sometimes on the screen. I try to, edit it, so don't say anything crazy like look at that weirdo in the comment. I'm just kidding. But just know that it does pop up sometimes. So I'll do my best. Okay. So where are we at? Bryant, are you married or not married?
I am not married, single, divorced.
Okay. Welcome. Let's see. Okay, E.T. I want to say it so badly, but I'm going to have to write it phonetically. E.T., are you married or unmarried?
I'm single. Never been married before. I'm single. Unmarried.
I like it.
Call me it takes. If it's fine. That's the short version. It takes.
It takes. Okay. With the long A, it takes. Okay, that's easier. I like the single men saying it from their chest. All right, so we have 2 divorcees and 1 single. All 3 single. Okay, Ivan, we have you next. Married or not married?
Not married.
He says single. Okay, excellent. And Sean?
Single, twice divorced.
Okay, all right. So you're gonna have a lot of advice, I'm sure. Been there, done that. All right.
Might not be that great.
You said what?
I did it twice. I might not be that great since I did it twice.
I like the humbleness. All right, K-Dub, I'm sorry, give me a nickname. What is your status, married or not married?
You can call me KB, that's fine. Single, actually never went around the rodeo like my fellow OGs, but I like where I am. I like home base.
Okay, all
I'll stay
right.
here for now.
And you said KB, is that what you could be called?
Yeah, KB.
Okay, that is helpful. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm struggling. All right, so now that we have said that, we got Ivan is handsome. I'm telling you, look, y'all have to, I might have to tell the ladies to put their Instagram name, or you know what, when I do a clip, they should comment on the clip on Instagram. So, if you want to slide in some DMs. So I'm not a matchmaker, but if people match through me, I'm not mad at that. I have had a couple marriages under me, but that's beside the point. All right, so I want to know, what are your thoughts? We'll try to make this one as quick as possible because I have a lot of questions and I think a lot of them are juicy, so we're going to try to get into them. But what are your thoughts on dating? How do you feel? And then after we go through the first couple of ones, you guys don't have to go in order. You can kind of jump in when you have a thought. So I'm not going to make every single person answer every single one, but I do want to kind of get a baseline. So where would you say you are, Devin, when it comes to dating? When someone says, what is dating like in 2023? What is your experience? What's your sentiment? What's your thought? And no judgment, guys. This is a no judgment zone, okay?
The first word that comes to mind is frustrating.
Okay.
Because like I said, I'm super single, so I'm out there, Well, I'm not actively out there like, I'm going hunting for girls or whatever, But I do meet a lot of women, and I go on, like I said, a lot of dates, but I'm talking to a lot of women, and it's so frustrating, especially here in LA.
Okay.
I'm from New Orleans, so I'm from down south, born and raised down south from New Orleans, but I've been living in LA almost 2 years now. And these LA women, they're different.
Oh, I remember you now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, because I had to leave LA.
Yeah.
I had to leave my home.
You said that.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's like that's the first word that comes to mind is frustrating because I'm I'm literally getting all the stereotypical, behaviors from women. Like God damn, like it's crazy that I'm seeing all these stereotypes that I see on the internet and social media and stuff like that, and it's out here live and active. So frustrating would be the word.
Okay. I apologize. I'm looking at the comments and they said that the sound is bad for you guys, which means that I might be doing something wrong. Yeah, 4 people have now said that. And so I'm trying to see if there is a quick fix, you guys. I'm so sorry. Let's see.
I think when somebody's not speaking, they can mute. When nobody's speaking, you can mute your mic. That could happen. So when you're not speaking, you can mute your mic and then come on when you're ready to speak. Maybe that might help. I don't know.
So guys, on the sound, is it that it sounds far away or is it breaking up? Because my sound is coming directly from my mic, so you're gonna get nice, clear sound. They're talking about what's the IG versus coming from Zoom. Then that sound is coming from a different source. So let me know which it is. Is it that their sound is breaking up, or is it that they sound like they don't have enough volume? Which, if that's the case, I don't know how to fix it. I'll have to look into it.
Put my IG in the chat right now.
Oh, there you go. Okay, sounds far away. So then that's something that I'm going to have to look into to figure out why the sound is not coming through super clearly on this end. Let's see. Hang on, guys. Let's see for... It sounds far away like you're listening on TV. Oh, if you're listening, and it's fine if you're on your phone. Okay, guys, so I don't want to take too much time. If you can hear at all, we'll move forward because I don't know the solution. Is the volume on your device up? Oh, good question. Yeah, I'm so sorry. So it says I can't hear the guys too well. Dang, and it's terrible if you're watching something and the sound isn't good. If we have any tech people who know, I've never had this, and I've done a ton of stuff with I've never had this issue with Zoom. He says, greetings, all the guest speakers and everyone in the chat. Hope all is well with you. Perfect timing. Oh, to listen while I'm cooking. Glad to have you. Is there anyone who can hear it clearly, or is every single person saying that they can't? By the way, please hit the like button if you haven't done so already. And if you're on your cell phone, you have to close the chat box and then you'll see it and then you can go back in the chat box. Let's have each of the guys just say testing 1, 2, 3 and speak from your chest. And if you have, I don't know if you have a mic or, you're on your phone, I want to see if there's a difference if you're closer to your device or not. I mean, I don't want you to have to be all weird and be all up close to it, but can you guys kind of give like a testing 1, 2, 3 and we'll see with each guy?
Testing 1, 2, 3.
All right, that's fine for me. Bryant?
Yeah. Testing 1, 2, 3.
Okay. A takes? Wait, is it a takes?
I think testing 1, 2, 3. A takes is right. You got it right.
A takes. Okay.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
So Travis is saying it's good for him. Ivan?
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, it sounds really good on my end. Sean?
Testing 1, 2, 3.
And he's all the way from the moon, and I can hear him.
I'm at work right now, so I'm sitting in the truck.
I'm totally too. Oh, ladies, okay, man in uniform. All right, and then we got KB. Can we get a testing 1, 2, 3?
Yeah, testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3.
Okay, so unfortunately, guys, I don't know. I absolutely do not know what to do. They said audio is good on an iPhone. Someone said much better. Ivan is good. Okay, I don't know. But yes, ladies, I'm going to have them put their IG information. All right, so give me 1 second. I'm going to switch this up here while I get their IG set up, okay? Hang on, guys. telling you. Oh, they said switch to my phone and it's much better. Okay, good. All right, so let's see how many of you guys gave your IG. Let's see. See all the fun stuff you guys get to do when you're the premier guest. I've been out of it for a minute. Okay. All right, so we got your IG. Okay. A takes? Is that what you said? E takes.
Yes, it takes.
A takes. Okay. And let's see who else. Did anyone else want your? Oh, okay. Sean has his. We'll put Sean's on.
You got mine, Devin.
I don't think it's in the chat. Oh, you put it on that chat. Let's.
Well, let's see.
I think I can copy and paste from here. Okay.
Oh.
I got Devin's. All right, so I'll put you up here. Y'all are so patient. Thank you. All right, and then Ivan. Okay. Y'all not gonna have dry DMs anymore. Goodness. Okay. All right, Sean. Oh, I already got Sean's. Bryant. Did you give me one, Bryant, or you want to leave yours like that?
I'm gonna leave him out like that for now.
Okay. And we got KB. Okay. People watching the replay are lucky they can just fast forward. All right, so I think everyone who wanted it changed is changed. Okay. Let me get back to my little... Okay, so we're just going to move forward. Hopefully it works. Not audio is clear like LeBron's hairline.
That's all I was laughing at.
I like that. Ooh, Tamla's from Pomona. That's right. Pomona in the house. Okay. It sounds like their sound is coming from your mic. That explains it. Okay, so I'm going to have to figure out how the sound comes from their page instead of my microphone, but I will turn the microphone around. Hopefully that helps a little bit, you guys. Okay. Again, I apologize. So who are we on? Are we on Bryant? Devin was saying he's frustrated. It's a whole thing. It's not a good vibe. I believe we were on you, Bryant, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Okay. So what's your feeling for dating right now? What's your sentiment?
I mean, dating has its challenges, but it's okay. I think for me, I felt like I was in a time capsule because, like, when you're married for a long time and then you get divorced, everything has changed.
Yes.
Kind of feel like it's a lot different now. Like, I feel like people aren't really trying to connect like that. Everybody's scared to get to know each other past the superficial. Everybody's dealing with multiple people, and then you just get caught out there with a lot of short flings.
Yeah. I remember, so I was married for 12 years and I tapped out. I've gone into the reasons plenty of times, but I was like, oh, this is going to be easy. It's not going to be hard. It's just you like me, I like you, cut and dry. And it's anything but. So I definitely can relate. All right. I have you next, sir. Why do I keep on saying, every time I say your name, I feel like I'm saying it wrong. A takes.
See, you say it right every time you say it. It's good. It's an African name. We're African. You get it right. It's good.
I'm so paranoid saying it wrong. Okay.
Yeah. So in my experience, things are not the way they used to be.
Mm-hmm.
The values we had seem to have dwindled. So I'm a radio personality. I'm a host. So I get to meet people. I don't have a challenge meeting people, meeting the opposite sex, and it's funny how a lot of things are now very material, very superficial. So the person might like you and you like them, but the next thing they're checking you out. They want you stable. They want you ready-made. Let me use that word.
Mm-hmm.
To take care of them. So there's a lot of poverty that influences the decisions that are being made these days. The pressure that comes from looking to someone to meet your need, it affects negatively you wanting to get to know the person. So it's a challenge, but as men, we need to continue to work hard to develop ourselves and still be able to provide. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
However, a lot more women are working hard, providing as well. So both those who are providing want a man who's stable enough to meet them at that level. Those who aren't are looking for a paycheck, are looking for someone who's they're gonna lay on those needs on. And so social media also has a role in that. You see a lot of lifestyle which is not exactly genuine, and people are taking that as the real thing instead of just getting to know a person and deciding, do I like this person? What are their values? And can we work together? From there.
Okay.
So that's my yeah.
So it's not a fun and easy road, it sounds like, right now for you.
Well, it's adventure for me because I've done extensive research on relationships. I'm passionate about it. So it's like abundance mentality. Next, and now see me here. So we're spreading our horizon, tentacles everywhere. Now we're going to the US. Maybe we should spread beyond Nigeria and see how things go. So it's adventure. It's just about your attitude to things. I don't think it's, yes, it's challenging. Yes, it's different, but you keep moving.
Right.
Keep moving.
Okay. Real quick, we've got the ladies. I love that people can give live feedback. They would like to know the ages. Oh, perfect, because that was my next question. So Devin said he's 44. Bryant, mind sharing how old you are?
43.
Close to back. You and I are twins, 43. Okay, and how old are you, Atex?
I'm 39.
39.
December this year.
Okay. Oh, you're turning 39.
Yes, well,
okay.
I'm 38 right now. So.
Okay, perfect. Sean, your age, if you don't mind sharing, and then you can...
I am 52.
52. I don't know why I skipped over Ivan. So Sean is 52. Black don't crack, I see that. And then Ivan, how old are you?
That's why you skipped over me, because I thought I was going to be the oldest. I'm 45.
Okay,
So,
nice. All right, and KB?
I just turned 33 yesterday, actually.
You know, I guess, oh, the baby. No, I'm just playing.
Happy birthday.
Thank you, brother,
Happy
man.
birthday.
Thank you, gentlemen.
You said how long ago did you turn?
Thank you. I'm sorry, what was that?
Oh, I'm sorry. How long ago was your birthday? I was too busy talking smack.
Oh, it was just yesterday.
Oh, yesterday. I would sing, but then that wouldn't be a gift. So my gift to you is going to be not singing. But happy birthday.
See, I don't determine it.
Slick. I'm good at faking for little short clips. Okay, so Ivan, what is your experience like in dating? Are you enjoying it? Is it terrible? Is it whatever? What's your vibe right now?
I think it's fine. So the way that I would answer that question is I am very aware of the dating marketplace. So there are elements of that marketplace that I would change, right? So some of the things that all the guys have mentioned, but the way that I approach it is when I'm out here dating, and I don't enter those situations with like this large expectation, like looking for my future wife, right? So I sort of when I'm dating, I accept what someone shows me, like this is who they are, right? And depending on what they show me, that's our interaction and that's how we engage. And that's why some of the things that have been mentioned by the other gentleman, if someone appears to be superficial, I'm not frustrated by it. It's just, I know that this person, I would have to engage them in this sort of way. And I don't treat them like someone that isn't superficial, that's more serious, right? So based on that, it's been fine, right? And I think I'm fine with being single and unmarried. And if someone that I would meet that's compatible, we have similar values, is serious, where reciprocate what I give out, then that changes the situation, because I see myself like I'm a relationship person. I'm also divorced, something I didn't disclose early on, and I know that comes more comfortable to me. But I'm in no rush, and so the dating experience has been just fine for me.
Okay, that is good to know. Sean, what is your experience? What is your
experience dating? I'll say for a man, I'll be honest with you, it's been good for a man. It depends on what you're looking for.
Okay.
A lot of women I'll meet, and I know everybody says it's kind of cliche to ask, what are you looking for? But I'm more of a go with the flow type of person.
Okay.
So in that sense, I can be fluid and meet someone where they are. But at the same time, if it develops into something serious, then if the feelings are mutual, then we can both go with that same flow. But if she is looking for a husband, if she comes out saying she wants to be married, then I'm man enough to say, hey, I'm not the one for you to say that within a few weeks of meeting. I'm like, I'm taking my time because first and foremost, having been married twice, I realized my mistakes in the past. And one mistake that I made was that particularly with my first wife, we weren't friends yet.
Right.
We were lovers before, and physical lovers more so before anything else.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, now when I date, I want my friend first and foremost. If we can't be friends, then we definitely not going to be long-term lovers.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel.
Okay. So. No, that's so key, and it's interesting because when I got married, I was checking a piece of paper, like perfect on paper. When women give like the stereotypical answers of what they want in a man, he literally was every single thing. But we got along, but we weren't like best friends. Now the relationship I'm in, we are best friends, and it's cool because anyone who's been married or in a long relationship knows that you're mostly in a non-romantic state and with moments of romance. And so if you're lovers only, you know, or you have this infatuation with each other, then you're going to be miserable during those downtimes. But it's something I tell my guy all the time. I genuinely like hanging out with you. We see each other every single day, and I still miss him if he goes, you know, somewhere. And I think that's absolutely necessary to have as your buddy. So, okay. I ended with Sean. Okay. So A takes. What is your experience like? Are you enjoying dating right now? Are you having time of your life? Is it miserable?
I think it's KB's turn because I spoke before about this dating advantage.
I'm saying A takes, and I'm looking at KB. I'm so.
Yeah.
I'm struggling.
Rearrange them on the screen.
I figured it was. I just wanted to honor the brother's turn. You know,
I appreciate that. And I'm looking at him on my screen like, why isn't he talking?
I have that effect sometimes. I'm blessed like that, but you know, KB is your turn.
I was just so excited because I have your name down.
That's the brother from the other neighborhood, from Ghana. He's from Nigeria, so I get it. Not entirely. I think my answer, or you know, my first answer is distant. But it's intersectionality of all these gentlemen I've mentioned. You know, if I want to go into specific detail, you know, I think dating now is, I think, pardon me, was it Ivan? Am I saying that right? Was it Ivan?
He's unmuting himself.
Yes, Ivan. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think he mentioned something pertaining to, you know, just being aware and knowing where I stand in this stratosphere of dating. You know, it is what it is. However, being aware of what I might come across, or, you know, treating the situation for what it is. But the very first answer to that is kind of distant. But that distance is not necessarily like a hands-off approach, but learning and analyzing all these things you're talking about. You know, having OGs in my life and older gentlemen that tell me their experiences just gives me a platform to learn from every surface. So it's just distance and learning, you know, as much as I can.
Okay. I think that a lot of women, the reason I wanted to ask this is because I think a lot of women feel like it's just so easy for guys because all the struggles that we have on our end. And a lot of times it seems like, let me know if I'm wrong, ladies, that the guys are the ones making the decisions, right? Because you guys are in the control seat when it comes to relationships and commitment. We're in the control seat when it comes to access to the goodies, cookie jar, whatever you want to call it. But I think that a lot of women would feel like if I was a guy, it would be that much easier because I'll just be consistent and I'll just be a man of my word and I'll just be ethical. And you know, it's easy to imagine the other end, not realizing that we can be a handful to deal with. We could be disappointing to deal with as Devin has said. And it's funny because of all places, I thought LA would be the place that would be great for guys because there are so many women who come there and beautiful women too. So I'm like, oh, guys are just clean up, but there are other issues. So Valerie says they have too many options.
Like I could clean up. Like contrary to popular belief, I'm not a guy that's just out on the streets like just hoeing or just like say on the prowl all the time. But if I wanted to, I can. So yes, LA is. I don't know the ratio. It's crazy out here. Like I literally meet women like almost every day. Whatever is it the type of women that I want? No, not all the time. Whatever, but my type of woman, unfortunately, is that type of woman that have these stereotypical behaviors. Fine, beautiful, whatever. Because I'm a physical person first. I will back over until I find that mixture between physical and personality. So I'm always gonna go for that physical attraction and sexual attraction first. So unfortunately, those type of women are the ones, not all of them, but a lot of them are the ones that come with that, that behavior, those stereotypical types of things that people talk about all the time, whatever. So, but yes, LA, clean up city out here. Like, it's crazy.
Have you seen that video about the crazy, beautiful, crazy scale? You guys seen that? If you haven't, Google it. It's very funny because the guy, he describes it like very seriously, like these are stats, whatever, but he does this graph and there's beautiful, like, the more beautiful it goes up, and then there's crazy going out, and then it shows the like the correlation between beauty and anyway, it's a fun thing, so Google it. I forget what it's called. It's like the crazy beautiful ratio or something like that, spectrum, and they tell you like what you have to go for and your chances of getting like both, best of both worlds. So I'm gonna ask you guys this. I am not strict on time, and so I don't like anyone to feel like they are stuck. They're committed. They have to be here the whole time. So if anyone has to dip, you can just throw up a little church finger, or just dip if you don't want to say goodbye, or you can comment in the chat that you have to leave. Please do not feel like you're being held hostage. I'm enjoying things. If you guys in the comments are okay going, we're not even past the first question and it's already 40 minutes in. So in the comments, let me know if you guys are good to keep going. We're probably still going to have a part B or a part 2. But if you guys are okay to keep going tonight, the men on my panel, let me know if you are. Those in the comments, let me know if you guys are still good to go. Make yourself some popcorn. Get yourself some cookies. Is everyone good pretty much? Until you're not good? Okay. and then you could dip. Okay. Hot Crazy Matrix. Okay, that might be, is that what it's called? Because I wanted to be able to Google it. All right, so this is the question that I absolutely like to ask guys because a lot of times guys will say, I'm a good guy, which that's a whole nother conversation. What makes you, and this is where we're going to start off, where we're not going to go in order. It's just whoever has something to answer, and if everyone doesn't answer, that's fine. But what makes you feel like you're a good catch? If this was like an interview type situation and you had to explain what makes you different from the next guy, obviously women can look visually and see if you're their type, but from a personality standpoint and a package, what makes you a great catch? Why would a woman feel lucky to be able to have you?
Me personally, I like to think that, I come from a genuine, I guess, root or whatever. I always try to keep it real. That whole thing about, putting on in the beginning of the relationship. I like to give my real self from day one. So there is no like fall off or
you don't have to maintain it.
The first 3 months you were like this and blah, blah, blah. No, like I like to come off as genuine to my personality as possible. You have a choice to deal with it, and I have a choice to deal with whatever I'm receiving, whatever. So, and I always tell women and men, whatever. Like I came up different. I didn't have the normal lifestyle. I was a football player. My whole life. I made it to the NFL. So my upbringing was different. So I came from poor to having all the money in the world to having no money in the world, literally no money. after having all the money, no money, then back to me being at a super nice spot where I'm at now, or whatever. So I've seen what people treat me with no money, all the money, no money, then back to where I'm at now, or whatever. So I'd like to come off as genuine and loyal, and I like to receive that from women too, whatever. And so a lot of things with women, a lot of women haven't been through a lot of stuff. You know, they don't have a lot of life experiences or whatever.
Preaching. That was me. That was me. Yep.
They don't have a lot of life experiences. So if I'm coming off as like, okay, I know how to communicate now, or I'm saying this now, they don't even know how to take that because okay, I've been through that. I've been married. I've been through all this and that or whatever. So I'm putting that off on you, whatever. So but the main thing is genuine. I like to come off as genuine from day one. You know, I'm a black man. I'm well versed in travel and stuff that I like, music, entertainment. You know, so that's how I like to come off. That's what makes me a good guy. You know, I'm funny. I'm very. I could deal with any type of person. I've been around everything. I've been around just everything you can think of. I've been there and done that type of thing. Not everything, but so I like to come off as genuine as possible.
Okay. It's funny, my guy and I, we had a thing where we said, let's do the opposite, even the opposite of what I teach, and just put all the skeletons out there, because that's not really a first date type of topic, but we just said, let's just kind of do the proverbial, open the trench coat, reveal, all the non-goodies, the baddies, and show everything, and if the person doesn't run away screaming, it can only go up from here. And we did that, and we're 5.5 months and never looked back. And so it's pretty awesome to be like, the worst things about me this person absolutely knew before they got emotionally attached, and they're still all in. That's awesome. So
right. And it's almost like if I meet a woman and I say or like say I met her already, I saw her at her best, she's all made up, whatever, and say this is the next time I'm seeing her, and I say, oh, meet me, blah, 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 I'm already out, oh, I don't have my makeup on, I'm all dressed down, I'm blah, blah. Okay, that's how I want to see you, I want to see you like, okay, you don't have to be dressed
how you wake
all the time, whatever. Mm-hmm. I'm 99% of my time, I'm casual and gym clothes, or I'm not always done up all the time, whatever, so.
Wait, you don't do your hair every day?
Huh?
You don't do your hair every day?
Not every day. Not every day. I just
you're just confident.
Yeah. No, but if your hair's in a ponytail, there's nothing wrong with that. The quicker I see you, just normal, that's the better. You don't always have to be made up or whatever. So, I would love for women to just be relaxed, be casual most of the time.
I will throw this out there. I've been trying to do it, but people be, what do they say? Scary. People are scared to do it. If anybody has the guts to be interviewed as a single, I will absolutely do that. And, have conversations on Instagram live, and whoever wants to jump in can jump in. I love facilitating that type of stuff. So I'm just putting that out there. No pressure on anybody. You said what?
I said, I'm about that. I have so much to say. Like, I was like, this is a real passionate, and it's just every day, and I'm always, seeing or hearing something about this or whatever. And let me just put this out there. It's not like I'm looking for a wife. I'm not. Right. It's none of that. I'm just a single man, just experiencing all this stuff and whatever. So but yes, I would love. Yeah, I'm cool. I'm definitely about that.
People are requesting. We got some people with crushes on Ivan. My goodness gracious! It might be the suit. I mean, I don't know, but look, Ivan, take your love. Take your love. Who wants to go next? Why are you a good guy? I need you to pop your collar. This is the time to brag. Why are you a great catch?
I can't answer for the other man. For me personally, it's never necessarily about outdoing the other man, and I think every real man kind of knows this. It's about embracing, knowing who you are, because a lot of times, it's easy to get deluded and just convincing yourself, I'm going to do this. But the real man knows just facing those fears, internal fears that you inherently have along the path of being a good man. Standing on your word. And it's hard. When the men in the on the live note, this is hard. I think one of the hardest thing I ever had to do, going to school, all these things, working, etc., is being a man. There's no template to that. There's no real design to do it, despite what the world and women might think they understand what the man path is. So many things, depending on what level you want to aspire to be. So I think being a man, or what separates real men or good men from other men, is just answering to yourself, not necessarily fears in terms of trauma, but even those things you're trying to achieve, and just standing every day and just answering to that. For me, being born and raised in Ghana, I think having that piece of upbringing where I call it black boy privilege, where it's kind of like, I feel like I got some of the gems early that I feel as though now as a black culture kind of trying to get back to, and trying to assimilate into. So, just basking in that ability of knowing who you are, creating a niche for who you are and what you think, what your mindset is, what your core structure and self-development principles, self-discipline, those type of things, And I think all in all, that defines real men. And I think even the men in common could agree. You're able to tell that in a man. So,
Okay. I'm going to do a quick little plug. If you haven't hit that like button, please do so. It's not for my vanity. It's because YouTube doesn't know if you're enjoying the show. They can't see. Well, they might be watching, right? Big Brother. But they can't see if you're like this. So if you are enjoying the show, that's the way to let YouTube know, and it will push it out to more people. So please go ahead and smash that. Also, if anybody purchases a badge, I will give you a shout out. It helps. This is something that I do absolutely for free. I stepped on faith a couple years ago, and I have been doing this full time. And so it's, anyone who's an entrepreneur knows it's no joke. So every little bit counts. If you are enjoying the show and you want to sow into my ministry, feel free to do that. I'm going to let one other guy, if anyone else wants to answer this before we move on, I'll take one more. Did anyone else really want to share what makes you a good catch?
Yeah. So I feel like as a man, you need to know yourself. Mm-hmm. So I'm speaking from self-awareness and how I've come. I'm confident. I know who I am. I know who I'm not. I don't try to be who I'm not. I present myself with my full chest. So I'm confident. I am intelligent. I have a sense of humor. So different people can relate on different levels based on their humor, their fields of experience, and all of that. I'm genuine. And I must speak from the place of being very in tune with my creator. So I know I'm not here on my own. I know my purpose. So these things guide how I'm moving around relationships. So I've been around, had adventure, but I'm looking to settle. So that kind of guides my dating. I can go with the flow, relate with you, like Ivan and I think a few people said, but I'm looking out for that person that I'll build with. So yes, if you're this kind of person or you just want to enjoy the soft life, I will still entertain you. I'm not going to judge you. However, in my mind, I now know where to place you. But you will enjoy my company. I will be genuine and honest and open with you. And yeah, the more you get to know me, the more you realize. And I like the idea of putting yourself out there. Of course, I also believe in constantly being and working on being the best version of yourself. Always try to improve. Don't feel like you've ever arrived. So I'm always constantly trying to improve myself. I'm open. I want to know. I want to learn more. And, at the end of the day, the person who's going to relate with you is going to like you as their friend and to be able to be comfortable being themselves with you. I like by specification, I like natural looking women. I like women to wear their crowns. I like them to wear their hair. I love the fact that black women are the most beautiful women on this planet. But I don't restrict myself based on that. So I like the fact that you look beautiful, but I want to see more. I want to know what your character is, what your values are, what your faith is. And so, if, for instance, I like dark-skinned women, but I meet someone who's Yonci's complexion, and me and her resonate.
I'm not dark-skinned? Light-skinned,
right? And you're genuine, and I feel like we connect. I'm not gonna say, oh, wait 1 minute, you're not melanin, so I can't know. Or when you talk about zodiac signs, compatibility, and I meet somebody and they're like, oh, okay, oh, Capricorn. No. It's about your choices. So if I feel like me and you connect on value, faith, genuineness, and the things we're trying to achieve, and we can build together, then you got me. And we'll keep going. So that's who I am.
Okay. They're liking the answer in the comment. By the way, this might be easy. I don't know how easy it is on your phones to tap the little hand for the hand up, raising the hand. If you really want to say something, put the hand up so that I don't skip over anybody. That way I don't have to keep going. Does anyone else, like an auctioneer? Thank you for answering that. All right. So, Ivan, did you want? I saw your mute go off.
Yeah, I'll share something.
Okay.
And I think of one of the common themes that I picked up on the gentleman's comments were core principles, traditional values, right? Knowing yourself and being grounded in faith and that sort of thing. And I think, today's society looks at that as that's old school, right? But I think if you consider how relationships worked years ago, I mean, those are the things that held people together, right? You mentioned a point about, it's very little romance, right? You have a non-romantic relationship probably 90% of the time, 10% of it is romantic. I think really what keeps relationships together is people having really strong core principles. And then that radiates, right, in your behavior, in terms of loyalty, in terms of understanding your role. And role could differ, right, between two individuals. From my perspective, I'm very much traditional manhood, right? Like a provider, a protector. I saw something the other day where there were women who were talking about being interested in someone with money, right? And then someone corrected that sort of notion and said you need to be with someone who is a provider. So I know people who have money, but they don't have that provider spirit, right? And so
they got their money.
I have moderate success. I'm an executive in the financial industry. So that entire motivation has really been about, providing for myself and providing for my loved ones. And I think those principles, those traditional values, is really what makes good men, right? Even being a protector, right? So I think men should be really well-rounded, right? You could be a professional, you can be very loving and supportive, but you also need to know how to protect your loved one, right? So go to the gym, right? And I don't know everyone's opinion in politics, but own firearms, right? If that's your thing.
That point.
Right? So, my dad is ex-military, so I grew up around weapons. I'm very safe with it. But, I understand that sometimes, you need to be able to be in a position where you can protect yourself, protect your family, protect someone that you care about, especially in today's society. I think it's just being well-rounded, right? I'm also great at, keeping a house and doing laundry and all that type of thing, right? So I was taught at a very early age that I would, I should marry out of companionship, not out of necessity. There's not a single thing I can't do for myself. But being in a relationship, I would not expect to do everything for myself, right? You expect someone to come in and contribute, and you contribute, and that sort of thing. So I'm probably getting off topic here, but that's just my perspective around being a good man, and I think sort of kind of what makes men when they can be, they're well-rounded and they can cover all those bases.
I appreciate that. And by the way, I hope I'm not distracting anybody. I've got 15 screens, comments, looking at all this stuff. So please don't let me distract you if I'm looking. Plus, the ladies are going nuts in the comments, so it's pretty funny. Is everybody? Sean, did you want to add something?
I guess I can. Everyone else did pretty much. So, why am I? Simply put, I have a saying that I'm just looking for someone to enjoy life with. I've been married twice, so my needs and want are a lot different than people who have never been married and never experienced that. And I'm not saying I want to get married anytime soon, if ever.
Oh.
But I do want someone to enjoy life with, and I can help someone enjoy life. To sell myself. Here's my commercial. I'm smart. I'm intelligent.
Employed.
I have careers. And to go back to Ivan's point about women looking for providers, I would say those women aren't necessarily looking for providers. I think they're more so looking for sponsors to feed into their lifestyle. And those are women I straight up avoid.
Yeah.
I can provide for you. I can provide not only the monetary things, physical things, but I can provide joy. I can provide love, hope, strength when you don't have it. And that's almost just as important. I mean, out here, there's a lot of great women, intelligent, make their own money, make way more money than I might make. But they don't have the opportunity to be vulnerable. Because the society, the world, social media won't allow them to be for whatever reason. So I know I can provide a safe place for that woman. So you can let your hair down, you can relax. I had a friend, she was in politics, and she was doing her thing in politics. And I told him when we met, I said, listen, I was like, I know you're this in politics and all. I said, but when you walk through my door, all that's out the door. You can relax, unwind, laugh. And actually, the funny thing is, we'd sit down and play video games and talk trash. He used to kick my butt in Mortal Kombat. But we would have fun. And really, when it comes down to it, that's what you want. You want someone who you could laugh with, someone who's gonna make your cheeks hurt. So that's what I could offer. That's my commercial. So that's why I think I'm a good guy.
I like that, and I appreciate that. I realized after, having been married and dating, that for me, the most important thing is a kind person, because you're going to encounter so many things, disappointment, frustration. You guys are going to get into it and argue. But if that person is kind at the end of the day, there's never going to be something that you can't recover from. I think a lot of times people take for granted popping off and saying something, but you don't realize that could scar that person. Someone might make a joke about your nose, not knowing you've been teased since childhood about your nose, or your speech. Maybe you had a slight speech impediment or a stutter that you came over, and in a joke, they triggered something. Kindness to me goes so far. And so that was one of the biggest things on my list. Not that I'm out here as a guy trying to say, well, I'm a good guy, but just wanted to add that was so huge. So for me, man, kindness goes a long way. And I think women are pretty forgiving if a man knows how to make her feel secure and loved. I mean, you see there are some homeless dudes that get taken care of, but they know how to make the woman feel great. So, okay. So anyway, speaking of, my nice guy is asking me how the show's going. It's going great, honey. Thank you. I'm texting. Okay, so I'm going to get into the next thing. This should be interesting. I have a theory when it comes to a lot of the, how do I say this in a nice way? The red pill community men. If you trace back a lot of their stories and experiences, it all comes down to a heartbreak. They did not start out that way. They did not start out drinking the juice. They were big-hearted men who had aspirations for love, and some big booty Judy broke their heart, did them dirty, and now they're like, screw women, I'm just gonna treat them like objects. That's my theory. So I thought it would be interesting to talk about heartbreak. Are any of you, feel free to use your little hand up so I know how many of you want to answer. Any of you comfortable sharing how old you were when you had your first, not if, I know it's not an if, when you had your first heartbreak and how it affected you? I don't think he'd be embarrassed to be telling you this, but my son, I asked him to wait a really long time to date if he could, which he did. I think he was like a senior in high school when he had his first, kind of relationship. And seeing his first heartbreak was devastating. Like, I was sick. I won't go into details for his privacy, but I'm glad he did not let it devastate him. But men take it very, very hard, I've seen. So, all right, Sean, I'll let you start. How old were you, and what was the end result? Oh, you're muted.
The radio was on earlier. No, but I was 16 or 17, and this was a young lady I had a crush on for years. Of course, lived in my neighborhood, and I would do a lot of things for her. Like, I'd actually get up an hour early and get to ride the train to school or to work, and just so I could hang out with her when she was still in school. And like, I remember we were doing stuff together. We were hanging out. It was her mom's birthday, and we hung out. And I went shopping with her. I grew up in New York City, and went downtown. Went shopping, brought her mom presents and stuff. And to this day, I remember the moment I had an opportunity for a kiss, which, as you know, would be a big deal because it was like never been kissed. So anyway, I bypassed it because I was a nice guy trying to be nice. I'm like, okay. And then, like, probably about a week later was her birthday, and she didn't necessarily diss me or anything, but he ended up with her boyfriend at the time. Well, they weren't dating because they had broken up like months ago. But she ended up with him for her birthday. And my nice guy switch turned completely off. And I was just like, I did this for you, I did that for you. I was your friend, I was this, that. I mean, on her birthday, I pretty much chewed her on her birthday. And I know that was the first time I had my heart broken. And that changed me to a point, but it didn't change me. It just prepared me for different aspects of life, including relationships, realizing that where you said men change and they just go screw women and they're not going to do anything with women. Well, I had that mindset for a quick moment, but in my heart, to my core, I couldn't be that. Mm. So I realized, well, I'm going to do what I'm going to do because it makes me feel good when I do it. I'm not going to totally disregard someone just because this one person hurt me. And I realized that one person, that was her moment. That's her cross to bear. And I have mine. So even now, I could be bitter, but I'm not bitter toward women. I'm only bitter toward that person. Mm-hmm. So no, I'm not bitter toward her anymore.
Okay. So it was, I guess the fear would be, or the pain would be completely putting yourself out there and that person not being transparent with how they felt. And on top of that, accepting all of your generosity and just letting you be out there flapping the wind. Is that a good kind of summary?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I was way out there. Now, when I look back on it, she told me she liked me, but she didn't like me. Oh. And I was in the friend zone before friend zone became a thing.
Right.
I was totally in the friend zone. I was a safe guy for her to where she counted on me to help her with homework.
She liked you as a person.
Yeah, just doing various stuff.
Right.
But the boyfriend got all the boyfriend stuff. So
that's, and this is something, that's something that I like to explain to women because there is a sense of entitlement where I've heard this said a lot. no one asked him to do that. No one asked him to pay my rent. No one asked him to, buy those shoes for me. And although, yes, men aren't doing it with strings attached per se, not like some psychopath, like, okay, you owe me. But there's an unspoken, I'm investing into you. Just like you wouldn't go into a house and start remodeling it and laying down a new foundation and changing the windows just because you thought the house was nice. You're doing it because you're investing in it and you're going to turn around and sell it at some point. So that's what I think women misunderstand, is that you need to be clear. And that, fortunately, was something my dad taught me early on. Do not take anything from a man you do not want. And I go so far as to say, don't take anything from a man you can't imagine yourself sleeping with. Because I'm not advocating sleeping around. What I'm saying is, at some point in time, if the idea of the two of you coming together physically makes you grossed out or you're apathetic about it, don't deal with him. He's nice. If you don't want your ankles in the air with this man, that's a clear cut way of putting it, because at the end of the day, the guy is investing. And so it's really important to know what his intentions are too, especially if his intentions are just physical, because now you have a whole nother situation. It's not a heartbroken guy, it's an extra pissed off guy. So I just wanted to add that little thing. Yes, Catherine, thank you. I don't know why the last 21 of you are not hitting that like button, or I guess it's 19. I'm terrible with my math. Whatever 57 minus 35 is. Smash that like button, please, please, please. Yeah, okay, it's 21. All right. Did anyone else want to share and be vulnerable about your heartbreak? Going once, going twice. All right. We'll move on to the next question. It looks like you said something, Devin, but you're muted. All right. I got so into it, I forgot about my little graphics, y'all. Okay, so we're gonna get into here. What would you say are the most important qualities in a woman? So I shared mine. Not kindness, like above all, it's really, really important. And I love humor. But what are your top things? I would say maybe 2 or 3 you guys can share.
Mine would definitely be down to earth. That's one main one I like, that I look for in a woman, because I'm very down to earth. Like I'm goofy. I love to laugh. I love to try new things. I like to travel. Just experience things. And if a woman is taking herself so serious, or just everything is so hard, she's all pressed on everything. That's a big turn off for me. Like, oh hell no! Like you have to be down to earth. Like again, like I said, I need to be myself around you.
Right.
And if a woman can't be herself around me, or like this joke,
uptight.
Humor, like you said, humor is major. Like if I can't be goofy and laugh and crack jokes with you, or whatever the case may be, like that's not gonna work. So down to earth.
Can I add something real quick on that? Sorry to cut in. Ladies, I hope you notice what he said, and I think you see the guys nodding. My secret flirting technique, okay? The one that I've been selling, it's literally what got my man, and the next day he wanted me to be exclusive and be in a relationship with him, okay? It's based in humor. So if you have not gotten that class, I promise you, and I tried it out because he wasn't the first guy I tried it on. He's the first one I liked back. But I had men just going, oh my God, this is the most fun I have had in getting to know somebody. So if you want to know this technique, make sure you hit me up with the word secret. I didn't pay him to say that. That's a real thing, okay? Because a lot of times, especially the real pretty girls, they're just real stuffy. They want the men to do all the work. And if you can make a guy feel comfortable and have fun like he's with his buddy, but you're hot, that's like jackpot.
That's A1. A1.
Sorry, I had to just jump in there with the infomercial. Go right ahead. Sorry.
You good. Now, I don't want to say too much, but yeah, that's one of my main ones, just down to earth. I'll let other guys go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll chime in.
Y'all, he's in gainfully employed. Every time your thing goes off, I want to be like, he's gainfully employed.
So no, I agree. I think down to earth is important. I also would say, I think it's just a term that's thrown around so much, is feminine. And the way I would describe that is pleasant, a softness, and obviously physically, but just almost in your character, right? And not prissy per se, right? But a certain level of softness, a certain sweetness about it. That's a great quality. I would also have to agree is humor. I sit around stiff conference rooms most of the day, and when I get out of here, I want to enjoy myself and let my hair down.
I was just gonna say, let that hair down, let it down, let that soul glow.
Right. So, but yeah, that's it. Down to earth, feminine, and able to have fun.
I love that. Yeah. And again, great opportunity for my infomercial. If you all want to know what femininity looks like, because femininity is something talked about all of the time. And if women don't understand why it's such a big deal, just flip it. Every time I always say flip it. Can you imagine a man who wasn't masculine? If anyone led with, this guy is amazing, he's wealthy, he's funny, but he's just not masculine, you would not care about anything that they said prior to that statement. As women who are heterosexual, we are attracted to masculine energy. And so you have to understand the reverse is exactly true. It is intoxicating. I like to describe femininity like a fragrance. You ever just walk behind someone, or someone at the mall has spritzed something, you notice it, you want to experience it, you want to be around it. It's such an amazing thing. You can't put your finger on it, but you know you enjoy it. So I go through and I teach exactly what that looks like. And there's a difference between being sexual and trying to be sexy. He mentioned prissy. That's a different thing. Feminine is a different thing altogether. And if you want to see the embodiment of femininity, watch the old Dorothy Dandridge type movies, Breakfast at Tiffany's type movie. It's an entire aura, okay? From the way you dress to the way you carry yourself. It's what you don't do as well as what you do. So I just said doo-doo. If you guys want the information on my femininity class, DM me the word femininity. Otherwise, get my course Dating 101, because I go over that in module 3 into a lot of details. There's videos, demonstrations, all that stuff. But I really think we have to bring femininity back, because that will take you so far. Again, I did not pay them to say that. This is why I do the content that I do. Did you have any more, Ivan, or was that the main one you wanted to talk about?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, that was pretty much it.
So I gotta say this: the women are sweating Bryant in the comments. They are asking him, asking me to ask him stuff. Y'all, they answer the things that they feel compelled to answer. I am not favoring anybody. All right, y'all see that they put the hand up. They put the hand up. All right, so get his IG. Well, no, you don't have his IG. Maybe that's why they're sweating you, because they can't go stalk you on IG. So if you want to ask Bryant a question specifically, you can ask it in the comments, and if I want to, I might pitch it to him. All right, but y'all, that's on them. All right, so my next question, I get so excited I forget about my little graphics over here. Okay, what are your biggest turn offs in a woman? Okay, let me paint the picture. She's a bad mamma jamma. She's stacked. She got her own hair. She's not wearing the big old eyelashes. She's gorgeous. And then all of a sudden, boom. What are these turnoffs? What would you say the top ones are? These are do not pass go now.
I'll go. Disrespect. The saying that men value respect, women value love. As a man, you probably would rather be respected than loved, right? And that can manifest in so many different ways. Oftentimes, it's like what comes out of someone's mouth. I think in today's culture, right, being confrontational or not having a filter somehow gets confused as being strong, right? Sometimes the strong thing is,
that takes a lot of strength.
Walking away, right? Not saying something, or it's not worth it. I'm going to avoid an argument. That's sometimes the hardest thing to do. you know, I also think that, like, you posted the video, it was hilarious, where there was some game show and it said, okay, now your next challenge is accountability. Sometimes when you're trying to hold someone accountable, and maybe it isn't you trying to hold them, it's just the situation. Now they have to face that accountability, and then they lash out, right? Because it's uncomfortable. That's disrespectful. So yeah, I think that is probably I don't care what you have going on, what you look like, what your body look like. You will instantaneously turn me off by being disrespectful. There's no immediate cure for that, right?
Yeah.
So that's programming.
I love that.
And it requires reprogramming to get out of that, and that's just not a space that, like, I'm not a therapist, right? So, we all have our own issues, and not that someone would be perfect, right? But yeah, if that's like a pattern of behavior, that's a no-go.
And I think it's important that you gave what it's not as also in addition to what it is, because a lot of times when we talk about submission or getting on a man's program or things like that, this picture is conjured in a woman's mind that she's this mute person who doesn't have a say in all this. But our power as women is in the subtlety. Our power is in our agreeableness. And so sometimes it's not that you can't say anything, it's that you shouldn't say it right now. So maybe he is out of line and he's blowing off steam and he's completely wrong shouting 2 + 2 = 5. This is not the time to be like, Negro, did you not go to school? Maybe you wait when he's calm, you're in the car on the ride home and you're like, baby, back then you were talking about 2 + 2 = 5. And I would not want people to hear that. And there's a way you could still say a lot of things you want to say if you understand tact and timing. And the other thing is that when we're hurt, I know for me, when I'm hurt, especially if I don't feel heard, I go to frustration. Frustration is not something that evokes empathy from a partner. And I have to remind myself this a lot. I could either be the sweet partner who's like, I'm hurt. Or I could be the, I'm hurt, ninja, like, hear me. You know what I'm saying? Both things are, can be true, but if you understand psychology, each one evokes a different reaction. So understanding that when we know when to pick our battles and timing and tone and body language, these things are so important. And that's why I think it's important for people to get examples and really have it broken down, because women are told all the time, don't be masculine, don't be aggressive. And dare I say this, Black women especially get a bad rap for being aggressive, but I don't think that they understand just the nuances and how intonation and all of these things can be perceived as something negative. And it doesn't mean that they are doing something negative. But anyone who works in corporate America, for example, we know there are certain demeanors and behaviors we can do with our boys at the spades table, but at the conference table, we got to play the game. And so it's the same thing in relationships. There are certain things we can't just do just because it's our natural nature to do. A little bit of a tangent. Okay, I see A-Takes. You want to share your turn off? Oh, did you have any more, Ivan? Because I jumped all in there as I was excited.
Oh, no. That was it.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right, go ahead, sir.
All right, so I'll just touch on some of the things that were said before I get into what is an absolute turn off. Now, speaking to disrespect, of course, there's certain things that can play out. Your tone, the timing. Let me use the scripture now from that perspective. They say a soft answer turns away wrath.
Okay,
right? So there's certain things that, I've seen it being somebody who talks. I've seen literally someone blow up from what I said. And then right there, I've seen how I changed my tone and said, okay, I didn't mean it this way. And I saw that the same storm just calm right in front of me. That's the power of words. So, very, very true. How you say things, when you say them, sometimes you can keep quiet. Now, manipulation. I don't know if anyone has ever been with a narcissist or somebody who's narcissistic, but
One time.
manipulation is a no-go. You can be feminine, you can have your own opinion. You don't always have to agree. It's how you present it. It's how you say, no, I don't see this that way. And whenever you're having a conversation, you never insult the person. You're addressing the challenge or the issue. Like, I feel like this is not okay, and this thing you did. So there's that aspect. And so the person doesn't feel attacked at any time. As a man, especially from a woman talking to a man, you're not talking to him, you're not talking down on him, you're not bringing in or emasculating him. So that is important. You're not manipulating him emotionally, gaslighting him, making him feel like he's less of a man because he didn't do stuff. And that, a lot of women need to draw the line between being subtle in trying to apply their feminine wiles and let the man understand and see how they're trying to get him on their own side, to manipulating. They need to draw the line so that you're not manipulating him, not wanting to get your own way.
Right.
And as a strong, intelligent king, a man can see right through that, and he's like, nah. So manipulation, I think, is another form of a turn off that I can mention to me.
Okay, and that's huge. We can be master manipulators, and nothing is worse than seeing your boy, because when you're in it, you tend to be more vulnerable. But you, like, everyone else is like, bruh, she is playing you like a fiddle, and he's over here nose wide open. No, it's not. Ladies, we have power. We just cannot use it for evil. Okay, I don't see any other hands up for turnoffs. Oh, yes.
Yeah, so I'd say an immediate turnoff for me, you kind of touched on it, is, aggressiveness, right? Being disagreeable, always want to be right, just being argumentative. So that's like a real issue. But what I've kind of noticed now, like, because everybody in the beginning, like, they kind of hide a lot of these things, right? So you get past the first month or two and you don't start to see it. But what I realized with women that's like, well, immediately, once I see it, turns me off, is that most women lack emotional intelligence. And what I mean by that is, as men, when we're dating women and we're dealing with women, whenever we're making decisions regarding our relationship with that woman, we need to know, right, if we do something to say something, how she's going to react to it or how it's going to make her feel, right? Because they're always talking about their feelings matter. But I feel like women don't really care about how we feel. It's all about what we can do.
You guys have
and
feelings?
The moment that I see that a woman doesn't reciprocate, that in the sense of she doesn't care how I feel, like if she does something and I tell her that something bothers me and she just laughs it off and she doesn't take it into serious consideration, then that's a complete turnoff, because I know that now I'm dealing with a woman who's always going to put her needs first, prioritize it, and there's only going to be an issue in a relationship when she has a problem.
I made the joke, your feelings, because I remember being really young and being shocked at the idea that men could be intimidated by, going up to a woman, or being a little nervous rather. I hate the word intimidated, but like, a little nervous. And I want to say the right thing, because this came out when I was saying this guy flirted with me and but he hasn't asked me out yet or something. I remember asking the guys in my group, give me advice, and they said, he could be nervous and wanting to get it right or whatever. And I thought, it never occurred to me, because sometimes we can picture you guys as just being these super stoic, nothing phases you, but it's because you don't display your emotions the way we display our emotions. So what would make us be in the fetal position, crying hysterically and hyperventilating? You guys might just be like, seething inside. So we don't say, oh, he's at a 10 in pain. We see, oh, this ninja chilling. Like, nah, I'm not chilling. I could punch a hole through the wall right now. So I think that's something that women have to realize, that especially the more control, because you have to learn as a man early on how to control your emotions so you don't end up in fisticuffs, if I could use that word. So with an emotionally intelligent man, he's going to control himself, but it can seem as though he's not as bothered. So if a man takes the time, like Bryant said, to express that, assume he's at a 10 and he's just, his face isn't showing it, because we wouldn't respect you if you were in the fetal position crying hysterically, hyperventilating, but you're experiencing that same level of stress in your own masculine way.
Yeah, and like you said, as far as like, accounting for and controlling our own, emotions, we're also having to deal with her emotions and temper it, be the calm one, be the patient one, be the problem solver, right? And I'm not saying to break down in front of a woman. No, that's not where I'm going with this. What I'm saying is, if there's something in that's bothering me and I express it and I say, you need to stop this, a lot of women will just shrug it off, because if it's not a problem to them, it's not a problem in a relationship. And so when I see that early on, I'm like, this is going to be a problem.
Yeah. If you can't, if your partner does not adjust, I've never understood that. If your partner is mature and insightful enough to, one, recognize what they want, but they can express it to you clearly, if at that point you don't do it, to me, that's saying I don't love you. Unless you're saying I'm physically incapable, or this is something that I don't. And if you're not capable, are you going to therapy? Are you taking classes? Are you trying to figure out how to be that thing? Because that's the point of communicating, is to let the person know so that they can do it. And I think a lot of times people communicate what they want, but they don't see anything changing on the other side.
I think all the fellas on the panel can agree how the insanity loop goes. When you do that, then she brings up her own issue, and now you're dealing with her issue, and she just distorted yours. So now you're on the back burner when you started the conversation.
Well, I didn't like. Yes.
Yep, our issues go right out the door.
Yeah.
Our issues go right out the door, and then we, as men, we're problem solvers. So it's our instinct to say, okay, this is an issue. Let's fix the issue. When sometimes the women just want to be heard. That's something I actually had to learn. Just shut up and listen. And I would have a joke that said, I'm listening, but I'm not listening. So
my dad would say, do you want me to listen or do you want advice? And I would literally choose before I started talking.
We have to divide that line real clear, because I will fix it. I will say, okay, this is what you need to do to resolve it. And then we won't have it anymore. When really I can just say, okay.
Right.
Yeah, okay. I believe you.
Have you guys
Okay.
Have you seen that video where the lady has I think it's like a nail in her head, and she's like, oh, my head hurts. I can't sleep. Stabbing pain. And the guy's like, and she's just like, no, just listen. And he's like, okay, it could. And he's like trying to get her to look in the mirror. And she's like, honey, stop. Like, just let me, just listen. It's the funniest metaphor. She's like, I feel so much better.
That's something I had to learn.
KB, did you have something? It looked like you were unmuting at one point.
I think the gentlemen are nailing everything, not in any specific order, but I think, a lot of these things were touched upon. I think for me personally, it's kind of like, and the gentleman could agree to this, is passive-aggressive behavior masked in being emotional. One of the things that kind of get me is, the creator's not left-handed, I always say, because men have emotions too, but like you've expressed from your own experiences, and some of these men know, we internalize a lot. It doesn't have to be always hoopla and la la. When we get with the boys, the things that need to be chest out, barked out, we get to that. And the things that need to be internalized, where, we solve on our own, especially when it comes to women. Yeah, obviously you have to put up, not necessarily a bravado, but we have that internally, right? As part of being a protector and a leader. So it's just that passive-aggressive behavior masked in being emotional. I think Brian touched a lot upon it in terms of almost kind of like being put on the shelf and not being heard in terms of how you express yourself. Oh, but I don't feel safe. But your man needs to feel safe too. Be able to come home on time and want to be wrapped in your arms. That's the working overtime or different instances. So, I think that primarily is one of the things I noticed now in today's stratosphere of dating. And I think everybody kind of similarly could relate.
Okay. I want to chime in because you were talking about passive aggressiveness. I I used to be, I think I had been more passive in the past, especially when I didn't feel like dealing with a narcissist, I didn't feel like I could really freely express myself. And I have to be very vague when I say things because I never want to throw anyone else under the bus. But because of certain experiences where my opinion was not shown to be valid to that person or cared about, I realized that I had to unlearn certain things. Now I am so direct and I demand that from a partner. Anything that's remote, I'm like, no, what are we saying specific? Like, let's get more granular. Like, what are you saying specifically? So I can't deal with passive aggressiveness and I cannot deal with hypocrisy. If you create a rule based on, what you do and you do it, and I do it one time and you flip out, I might not even had an issue with it. But it's the fact that you not even abiding by your own thing. Like KB getting mad next week because someone's wearing a hat. Like, you just had a hat on last week. I don't care about the hat. But you gonna have a whole attitude because he had a hat? Like,
is this a no hat meeting, gentlemen?
I can't take hypocrisy. Makes my blood just boil. Oh my God. Okay, so y'all, we got
I really need clarity on that though. Is it a no hat meeting?
Oh, absolutely not. And you look fabulous in a hat. You look absolutely.
I wanted to add, Yonci, to what you said, right? Lack of reciprocity. I just wanted to add that as well. So I have a co-host, and many times I'm the one I update her on my dating adventures, and she's asking me. There's one very important question she always asks me: is she giving you the same energy? And she's a woman and she's married. So a lot of women, you like this guy, or from what he's saying, you like him, you want to get to know him. He's communicating with you, he's trying to bond with you. A guy like me, I'm vulnerable. I can express myself, I'm open. I tell a lot of people that I've been through heartbreaks, everything, and I survive very quickly. Some of us guys have some emotional traits where we can talk, we can express ourselves, but we can keep it to ourselves when we find you're not entertaining or you're not placing importance on our feeling. But if I meet the right kind of person, I'm upfront, I can tell you, this is how I'm feeling. So I'm trying to bond with you, obviously. I'm trying to communicate with you. And you're leaving my message, you're not. So the next thing I'm asked is she giving you the same energy? If she's not giving you the same energy, that's the first sign that she doesn't prioritize the time you're taking out to give her. And lack of reciprocity can be seen as disrespect as well. I don't know if the guys agree.
Yes, that is. Before you said that, I was going to say the exact same thing. And that's one of that's the reason I started following, Yonci, whatever, because of that post she posted about the reciprocity or whatever. And I've come across that a lot because of, the type of women, that I've dealt with, just like they have all these options. I don't know if it's the options or the guys, they like a lot of attention, but and not all of them, not all the women. Let me be clear, not everybody, but a lot of women, they don't like to give the same energy back. Mm-hmm. And it's like I'm pulling teeth. I gotta pull, and it's like, okay, if I'm always asking questions, I'm always asking about your situation, your family, where you from, and I'm getting like little darts here and there. Like, I'm like, come on, that. The video you posted will maybe connect with you is the most perfect post ever. I swear on everything in my life. I loved you from that post. I loved you. I started diving into all your posts. that reciprocity post, when I say it's so damn true, and I don't know why a lot of women can't see that.
It's
that's like, man, that would turn me off in a second. Okay, because again, I don't like to say it. I don't like to come off as arrogant or conceited. I have a lot of options too, So I just like you got a lot of options. But if I'm taking my time out and I'm literally like, man, I like this girl, and she's just like, okay, I'm gone. I'm like, no, man.
Y'all are gonna think that I paid them to say this, but the class that I did and was based on the feedback. So this is like a reciprocal relationship. I'll post something, you guys give comments, I'll put it into a course because I truly want women to be more enjoyable for you men. And if they're more enjoyable for you, you guys are going to treat them great. Everybody wins. But that's what 99.9% of the men said on the post where I said, why do men start off strong and then fall back? And I said, because they saw something they didn't like. And the guys were all like, let me be very clear. What we didn't like wasn't necessarily her personality, that there was something in her personality. It was not having enough reciprocity. So ladies, plug my class, Reciprocity. By the way, y'all, what you pay in Starbucks for a week, that's how much for a class. So I'm not one of these people who charges $300, $400, $500 for classes, thousands of dollars for mentorship. I want it to be easy for everyone to afford. Get the Reciprocity class. I literally break it down from the very first point of contact. Let's just say I ran into Bryant and he said, hey, you're very beautiful. I'd like to get your information. Boom. What I can do to start reciprocating from that exact moment while staying in my feminine, all the way through dates 1 through 3. Okay. So if you don't know what to do, if you're awkward, you're worried I might do too much or I might do too little, this is what men are going to love. By the way, I should do, a private session with the guys and just say, hey, is this, do you guys agree? Because I get my stuff from you guys. I just package it in a girly way that women can understand. Someone was saying something, I think that I when I started speaking, if you remember what you were saying.
I didn't want to over talk, but I think, I'm not sure if y'all could kind of have similar ideologies to this. I don't even think the guys are talking about matching. When you say matching the energy, we're not talking force for force, right?
You're not talking what?
My OG, TD Jakes, he said something, he was like, everything dies without reciprocity, relationship, business, and everything you could think about. And it's not necessarily like, because we're all gifted at different levels. You might be at 100% while I'm operating at 80, but my 80 is at full efficiency.
Mm-hmm.
Where your 100 is 100, but there might be 95 or extra 5 where so it's more so like, okay, what he alluded to is even a child will go to school and draw a little thank you for a parent. And I know some of the parents that are going through parenting have had that experience. So it's like, give acknowledgement for what you're receiving and not necessarily like, oh, acknowledge me, but how do you do that in your own way, that you have your own capability?
Yes. And a lot of women, this is what I teach in the class too, their thought when you hear it, I'm glad you said that it's like for like. Reciprocity is like for like. Oh, he bought me a coffee, I gotta buy him a coffee. He asked me, I gotta ask him out. And it's not. It's the polarity between masculine and feminine. So I'll just give one little example. We'll go back to the hypothetical with Bryant. Okay. So if Bryant is approaching me and he's giving me a compliment, oh, you look so beautiful, I'd like to get to know you, I can either be like, oh, okay, here's my number, or I could say, it took you long enough to get over here, bat eyelashes. Okay, that's depositing into his bank, his love bank. He like, I'm like, I've been checking you out. That boosts his ego. That says, oh, I'm not barking up the wrong tree. It's the proverbial, I say, landing the plane with the little batons, letting him know, or as he's about to leave, I look forward to that call. You don't have to be the man. You don't want to be the man. They don't want to date a man, or else they wouldn't be here with you. So you don't have to be in your masculine. You don't have to do one date. Now I got to pay for it. It's feminine energy. And the beautiful thing about you guys are so precious. I swear, because I even look at my relationship with my guy. The things that I need are like this. And literally he's like, cook for me. I'm not joking. This is my list. He's like, cook for me. One thing. He's happy. So I don't even have to check with him if the relationship is good. Are you cooking? Yes, he's happy. Me, I'm like, Durr! Men tend to be so simplistic. And so I have found with men, she said, Bryant dropped his IG. Ooh, watch out now. Okay, they ready, man. They are on it. I have found that for the most part, besides being fed, proverbially, you guys will do a lot just for that pat on the head. Just for the emotional pat on the head. You went to the moon, came back, didn't sleep, did it again, came back, and we said, thank you, babe. Kiss, pat on the head, and you're like, shoo, off to go do it again. You guys are some of the most selfless, just sacrificial creatures, the ones that are whole and heal and not narcissistic and, egotistical, but genuine nice guys. They do all this just for that. And that's why I like to equate you to puppies. Puppies don't ask for a lot, but they just get so excited. And all you have to do is give them a cuddle, little attaboy, and they're go, go, go. That's why it's so important for women to understand how to fuel them. It's like the wind up toy I gave in another example. If you know how to wind your partner's back, now they have energy to do the things that you need for them to do. So if we can bite our tongue, we can show respect, we can, if your guy likes cooking, cook, you know, if he likes back rubs, give him back rubs, whatever the things you pour into him, he's going to pour back into you, and we can have an amazing relationship. And I'm telling you guys, this stuff works. I've preached about it for years, but I always said I've never met a man who I felt deserved it. I finally found one, and I'm telling you guys, 5 months, you can't fake it. So if you do these things that I'm saying, you truly can have as close to a perfect situation. By perfect, I mean you have solutions for things as they arrive, not that you don't ever have any issues. Okay. I got all fired up about that.
Sorry, Yonci's apologies.
No.
This reciprocity, because we know this is like very, very big, and I just have like 2 examples from 2 ladies that I've been interacting with. So one of them, I'm this kind of guy where, you know, if I can't see you, I'd like to have like a voice call or a video call. I like to see you. I want to see you look good. I want to see your immediate reaction to what I'm saying. I like those kind of things. So this lady, the day we met, she was impressed. She told me I'm very intelligent, very handsome. We had a good vibe. After that, work and different factors we haven't seen. So many times I'm saying, you know, are you okay to do a video call? Can we see? She's like, she's only going to do a video call with someone who is in Australia. Like, if we're both in Abuja, Nigeria, we should see that she's not into video call, not into pictures. So since then, I've asked like once, twice, she's not willing. So she's saying on her own part that if you want to see me, come and see me. So now I'm saying, okay, so I arranged the date the first time. So let's meet halfway. Like, maybe come through, check me when I'm in the studio, and you know, I'm still watching to see how reciprocal she is. So that's an example. Like, I'm not, she's like, she doesn't like videos. That is dropping. Like, I was more excited before, but now I'm like, well, maybe she doesn't really like. So what you're saying now is that probably she should try.
So here,
so let me see.
It's interesting because my dating coach wheels are spinning, and I'm like, if a woman came to me and explained the situation, what would I advise her? So I'll go backwards. So the halfway thing, that one would be a little red flaggish as a dating coach. I would be saying, if you're early on, like date 1, date 2, I am old school traditional in the sense I do believe that the man should shoulder the brunt of things. Like, he pays for the date. If there's a bit of a distance, he should be doing more so of the traveling and being inconvenienced. That's my bias. I'm not saying it's right, but I'm more of a traditionalist that way. And so I would not advise a male client to rule somebody out because they weren't willing to drive. Now, if you have shown yourself and you guys are into it, she better drive all the way to you at some point, and then you drive. But I think at the very beginning, that's part of leadership, is that you take the lead. You kind of take a little bit of the L's, but then it puts her in a safe space. There's nothing I wouldn't do for my guy now. Not the first week. I very much had a posture like, all right, let's see what you got. But once I was in, I was all the way in. So I'm biased on that. With the other one, with the seeing her on video, you said it's if you couldn't see her in person, you opted for the second option of video, you said, or you could see her and you still opted for video. Okay.
Sometimes, so my schedule is different, right? Mm-hmm. My show, I do the morning show, 6 a.m. to 11 a.m. I'm done. Mm-hmm. She works like 9 to 5. So the thing with my time can be flexible sometimes. So that time I might want to see you, but she's now done in the evening, and she has to. Distance is a factor sometimes because where she lives is also some distance. So another thing is we're in the same city, but where she is quite far.
Okay.
So I'm now trying to see how I can go maybe meet her around where she works or somewhere central instead of going all the way to her end. Because the truth is, let's be honest, and I'm going to be honest, like I said, money in Nigeria now, that's another factor. So I need to be sure about that. So the first time, like, I came out through. In fact, there was something that happened that I shouldered it. I shouldered the responsibility, and I'd like to do that, and that's why I said, as a man, you need to constantly work hard because the times are tough, and it put pressure on the relationship because this girl, I can tell that she likes me. I can tell from what she told me, from the energy and what I saw. So ideally, if I had a car, if I was doing better, I would probably drop by her office. I probably would have sent like lunch. I'm that kind of guy. Yeah. However, I'm now trying to make effort because I don't believe in waiting for perfect conditions. I believe that what you can do as a man, try. If you're faithful in little, you'll be faithful in much. So that's why I'm trying these things. I'm just trying. So I'm still maybe I'll update you on that.
Yeah.
All right. So let me give you an example of the other person. I've known her for a while, but we've not seen for a while. And I sent her a message, and she didn't respond. But when she saw it, I said, "Hi, how have you been? I haven't seen you in a while. How's it going?" Right? And then she said, "Hello, good evening." And then she put this smiley with the love. Hello, good evening, and with that, like she didn't put enough. She didn't put as much words as I put, but I'm like, okay, I'm gonna send you a message again.
See, and that's in my course, ladies. Emojis will take you far. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. So
that's like.
So I would say for the first situation with the distance, hearing more of the backstory, you will ingratiate yourself to the right lady, because to the wrong lady, she'll use that against you and weaponize your truth and clown. But to the right lady, she'll respect that. I would rather a guy let me know it's because of a lack financially than a lack of integrity or feeling like I'm worth it. So if you were to express that to her, I think that would be different. I definitely would not do this in this situation, but either I can't see you at all, or I can see you if you can meet me halfway. That way she doesn't feel like you're not valuing her enough to drive. It's that you just literally don't have the resources. So I think communication goes a long way.
So sorry, again, I did that.
Okay.
So because I was going to feel a little bit of pressure, so I told her, and then she was like, don't pressure yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
Don't pressure yourself. You can let me know what it is. You can tell me what it is. However, she had, so I expressed that because I told her that honestly, if she was like, are you broke and all that? I said, well, no, but if I was, I should be able to tell you. And I don't want to be put under pressure or pressure myself, and I want to be at peace. So I'm sharing it with you. And I did that intentionally so that she would know that I'm interested and intentional about see how her reaction would be going forward. And that's another factor that we need to be honest about. I'm certainly someone who does a whole lot of other things besides being on radio to try and make ends meet.
Right.
I'm trying to be a billionaire, creative. However, you must be honest at the time with what it is. So I'm just watching to see if it will dwindle, if she's just humoring me or patronizing me, like, yeah, you don't have to worry, but the energy is not the same anymore. Like, you came through the first time. So these are the issues.
Yeah. And men have to be discerning too, just like women. This is a perfect example. I have a son. I almost said male son, like there's any other type. I have a son, and he has to look for signs too. Ivan, I know you've had your hand up, so I want to give you an opportunity to speak.
You actually touched on it. So I'm traditional as well. So I think in the beginning that men should shoulder sort of that responsibility in terms of pursuing the woman. But what I think has happened over time is that doesn't stop. And so I think when you get to a place where you're, because I think women have to have a way of weeding out the BSers, right? Mm-hmm. Depending on what they're looking for in dating. Right. And so sometimes that requires, giving someone some time to see what they show up with. And I'm not advising men to start out in a way that they can't finish. So don't go out and put your best foot forward. Go out and put yourself forward. And then I think at the point where a woman decides like this is someone that she's interested in dating, if you're still juggling a lot, maybe that's the reason why they're not reciprocating, because you're trying to split yourself across these different situations. But for a man that is seriously pursuing a woman, if you're not feeling that effort being matched, once you've gotten to that point where you're like dating exclusively or whatever the case is, it's absolutely a turn off. Like you want to see, and that effort doesn't mean I buy you dinner, you buy me dinner. It just means whatever you bring to the relationship, like you seeing that effort being put in. Like you said, it could be a shoulder rub, right? And I think if there's probably this idea that, oh, you know, I want a traditional man, so he should just pursue me. At some point, you want that reciprocity. So I think for women who are listening, you have to understand that, you know, you should expect men to pursue you. Mm-hmm. And once you've made a decision that, okay, this is someone that you're interested in and you're dating, maybe exclusively, maybe multiple dates, at some point you have to start showing that you are as interested as he's showing you that he's interested.
Right.
And that's the only way to keep that sort of interest going.
No, I appreciate that. We're going to take it a little bit juicy right now. Ghosting women versus telling them, I'm unsubscribing. What is the reason? Okay, I have my understanding of why, but I would like you guys to share it directly. Let me paint the picture. Okay, ladies, comment yes if you want to know the answer to this. You're getting to know a lady. We'll go back to the Bryant scenarios. We'll just build on that one. Brian says, oh, you're beautiful. I'd like to get to know you. I say, gosh, Brian, why did it take you so long? Flirt, flirt, flirt. Give him the number. We chop it up on the phone a couple of times. Maybe we go on one date. And suddenly his calls become less frequent. His texts start to come down to WYD. Eventually there's nothing. And then we're going days without speaking. And I'm like, whatever happened to Brian? And then he slowly, like the Homer gif, just fades into the bushes. So what is the reason for not saying, Yonci, you know, you seem great, but you don't reciprocate my energy. You give one-word answers. I don't, you know, giving the reason. So I'm just going to move on. Why? It just sounds so easy. It could all be so simple, right? It sounds so easy. Why does it not happen? Sean's hand shot up like a rocket ship. So go ahead, Sean. Let him know. Let him know.
Okay, I am so guilty of that. I will admit I'm a ghoster. And the ghosting goes back to what we were saying about your energy being reciprocated. And usually it's by the first or second day, there's a couple of phone conversations. I mean, I've had one phone conversation in noon. However, in the same respect, I will say ghosting works both ways, just like a telephone. If I didn't call you and you didn't call me, does that mean I wasn't interested and you weren't interested? We both weren't interested, so we just shut it down. And be honest with you, in my eyes, no harm, no foul. We just both didn't want to rush it. There was nothing there to build on. And there was nothing neither one of us wanted to build on. So to say I ghosted you, I can easily say you ghosted me because you didn't call me either. I didn't duck your phone calls because I never ducked a phone call. Now, the ducking phone calls, that's a whole nother story. In that case, he should say, hey, I'm really not feeling it. And I've said that. If we get the phone calls and just go, if we're going back and forth, but a lot of it, I say about 90% of it has to do with energy from that initial start. I mean, it's one thing to say you're in a honeymoon phase where everything's great, but when it starts off like a candle struggling to stay lit in the wind, yeah, I'm not going to waste my time. I'm going to blow out the candle and get my flashlight. I'm going to find some other way to light things up.
Yeah.
So the ghosting, that's one aspect. Another aspect is you might see those red flags. I might see those red flags. For me, a red flag is, I didn't say it earlier, but for me, a red flag is a woman who specifically comes out and says, I'm looking for a husband. And mainly because I mean the majority of women online, And when they start off with that, then I'm like, I've been married twice. Not to say that I wasn't open to it, but at the same time, when you announce it, for me, and it's a trigger for me. It makes it feel like it's a goal for her to achieve, a box to check off.
I addressed that in my course. I'm glad you said that.
Yeah, I'm not a box to check off. I'm looking, like I say, I'm looking to enjoy life. I'm not looking to check off a box just to say that I did it. I mean, if that's the case, I did it. I mean, I did it. Grandkids, I did all that.
So I gotta help you.
Say, okay, let's take a trip tomorrow.
I gotta help you out, Sean, because you're gonna get slaughtered in the comments. I know women, because I was thinking the same thing as you were talking, and I already see the emojis coming. So let me explain what you mean from a male perspective, because what women hear is, I'm dealing with women who are intentional, and that scares me off. That's not what I hear that, but that's not what he's saying as he goes on to explain it. And furthermore, this is in my course. It is okay to want it to end in a relationship, but it's interesting because if you ask a guy, what do you want out of dating? Most men will say, I will go with the flow. But it doesn't mean, and women will hear, I'm not serious, I'm not into commitment. What a man is saying is, I don't know what kind of chick you are, so dealing with you, I might not want marriage. I might just want to smash. But if I met this amazing person, then I absolutely would want my forever person. So to me, it's a male-female conversation. It's a men are for Mars, women are for Venus, because trust me, I had hours and hours of discussion on this exact topic, and I realized it's just how we say it. To me, my brain says, well, duh, if you don't like the person, obviously you're not going to marry them. But in general, the end goal is marriage. But we just don't agree. We just don't say it the same way. So men are going to say it's a case by case.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. Because I'm telling you, they were ready with their pitchforks and I could hear how it was being interpreted. And also, it doesn't help your case that you are not 100% sold on marriage. That's also going to make another pitchfork come out. But in your defense, most men say that what you said. They don't want the checkbox, which is what I had admitted to. Like, I didn't realize I was doing that. It was, oh, you'll do. It's like I pictured my whole life, my kids, we got the wedding. I just need the topper. You'll do. It's like putting the groom on there. No man wants to feel like I'll do. They want to feel like I waited my whole life and I came across Sean. Like, man, Sean, like you specifically are the thing. And I think because that's how you guys work. You could meet a sexy woman who checks a lot of boxes, but you're honest that she's not the one for you and you'll move on, or less honorable men will smash and move on. But with a woman, it's like, we want to just force a square into a round hole. Like, but on paper, doggone it, he has good health care. It's like, because there's such a desire to be in a relationship that, we'll do. So, sorry, I just had to throw you a life jacket.
No, by all means. You kind of hit the nail on the head there, of course. But for me, it was the marriage part, not relationship. We jumped right into marriage within a couple of weeks, a couple of conversations and knowing each other. And that's, for me, has always been a red flag. So those are women, those women, I don't ghost. I would tell them, hey, you're on a different path than me. I'm going to exit left.
Yeah.
I say, you can call me if you just want to hang out. Because, like I say, I'm looking for a friend. And sometimes they turn out to be, we have a great friendship. But at the same time, I'm not going to hold on to something where I'm not in agreement with it all. So
yeah, I recommend with women, to say something along the lines of, hey, if I ever met the right guy, I would love to be married and start a family one day. And that way it's less of I have a checklist. By the time I'm 29, I need to have this done and this done and this. It's there are ways to express it in a way that doesn't sound pressed. Bryant, the ladies are going to go crazy. He's answering again, guys. Bryant, what did you have to say?
So, I don't necessarily ghost, but what I will say from my experience is that women don't take rejection very well. So Give you an example. Meet a woman, we got a great chemistry, we're vibing, we want to get to know each other, we go out on a date, right? She's sweet as she can be to me, great person. However, we go to this restaurant, she's treating the wait staff like trash. Like I'm seeing who she really is, and I'm like, you know what? I don't think this is going to work, right? But I'm not going to ghost her, right? You know, I'll have a conversation with her and I'll just tell her, you know what, I just don't feel like we're a match. I'm no longer romantically interested in you, right? And then it either goes two ways after that.
Right.
One is going to be her, of course, wanting to know why. But then in my mind, it's like I didn't invest enough time in you for me to feel like giving you a long answer.
Right.
Right. So it's like we should just cut ties. Right. And you decide to say, you know what, I'm gonna give her grace and I'm going to tell her why. Maybe for the next person, she's either going to try to convince you that she's not, or then become belligerent and then try to become defensive because she's hurt.
Yes.
So sometimes it's easier to ghost someone because, it's like, hey, if a tree falls in the forest and no one's there, does it make a sound, right? I don't know how she feels about what I did, and I won't have to be concerned about it. Not necessarily that I would do that, but I can see why that happens, especially if you're dealing with a woman that's kind of aggressive and belligerent. You're like, yeah, it's just better not to even say anything, just exit the stage.
Yes.
That is what I have heard consistently across the board. That's the caption that I did on the post that Devin was talking about. That he found me. I said, women tend to not handle rejection well. I hate to say this, so I'm going to say it. Out of the two genders, there tends to be more delusion when it comes to women. And I think part of it is like a pro-con. Like we have a lot of creativity and we can see things that aren't there, right? That's creativity. I see the painting before it's painted. But on the other side, you're seeing things that aren't there. So it could be, a strength. It's okay to laugh, Ivan. It could be a strength or a weakness. But I love watching the show Bachelor in Paradise. People can say, oh, things are scripted. I don't care. It's interesting. I like human psychology, all the stuff. And one of the things that I notice is you will see it play out in real time. Women cannot take rejection. Men will do it too sometimes where he really, really is smitten and he's like, what, I could lose weight or I could become, I'm going to become that famous rapper at whatever. But typically the women will take it so personally as opposed to just, oh, we're just not a good fit. She hears you suck as a human being and you shouldn't even deserve to walk the earth. And so it's like, well, you're not that great either. And I have heard horror stories. I have heard about women tagging. One guy had a woman tag his whole garage door, to just fall apart because a lot of times we can go through a 10-year relationship and engagement and marriage. We're 3 kids in, and in reality, we're only talking for 2 weeks. But in our minds, we're so far down committed into the relationship, it's devastating that you're cutting it off. And it's like, girl, I don't even know your last name yet. So everybody always says, I don't do that. I don't know anyone who does it. Well, all I can tell you is report back from the man tribe. And I have had multiple men who don't know each other all have the exact same story, same as the reciprocity thing. So it's happening. Just own it, deal with it. And for the ladies who kept saying this over and over and over in the comments, we just grow up and communicate. If you have had to deal with that over and over again, you tend to take the path of least resistance. And the best way I can compare it to a woman's experience is how people in New York say, oh, the catcalling, or, men turn violent when you turn them down for the number. And women say, we found all these other ways to kind of give a wrong number or whatever the case may be, or give them a Google Voice number. If you start to find yourself in extremely uncomfortable positions over and over and over again, you tend to do what works for you. So I get it that ideally you would like a man to communicate, but blame your sisters because they've ruined it for a lot of men. I will advocate for you guys on that one. Any thoughts before I move on from this topic?
But what are your thoughts on? So I agree. I think some women struggle with rejection, but what about just constructive feedback in general? Like why is that such a, because like men, we get it since we're babies, right? Like we get that feedback. We do it to each other. We sharpen each other, right? I just find it so strange that not all women, but some women that really struggle with constructive feedback.
I
You
have a
know,
theory on it. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
no, that was it. Where's that coming from? Is it cultural? Is it?
I have a theory. I definitely know that women and men are treated differently as children. So women are coddled. We are allowed to be in our feelings, versus the boy, cut it off. Cut it up. What is it? Knock it off. Cut it out. Knock it off. Man up. Whatever. And so you guys have to learn quickly to control your emotions. Also, when it comes to women, if you are delusional, you immediately see the ramifications of the consequences. You will get no action and no cheeks, right? So you immediately have to go, something is not working. Versus a woman, our value is intrinsic, so just the beauty will just keep drawing in other men, and they'll go, well, I get lots of attention, so clearly I'm not doing anything wrong. You just must be insecure. You must be intimidated by me, my favorite, right? I think that's part of it. So I think there's a lot of, and then if you have the dad who is just like, you're a princess, you can do no wrong, and everyone's catering to this woman. Like, look at the phrase, happy wife, happy life. Why the heck is that a thing? Why is it not happy house, happy spouse, happy house, right? There's a reason people tend to tiptoe around women, which is terrible. But I think that a lot of times with sensitivity when it comes to women, because I was that person, it was a lack of self-confidence. When you know who you are, you don't feel attacked to your core. I use this weird analogy. It's like having a shirt on and you're eating a hot dog or whatever, and you get a mustard stain. You could say to me, oh, Yonci, you got a mustard stain, and I can go, oh, cool, there's a stain, I can rinse it out or go get another shirt. Somebody who doesn't have self-confidence hears you say, you are a problem, you are ruined, you are terrible, you're disgusting. And they can't separate themselves from the mustard. The mustard in this example would be that particular behavior. So maybe you're addressing that particular behavior of aggressiveness, but she hears, I as a whole am bad. Throw the whole woman away. It's hard to separate it and say, oh, it's this one aspect. But there is hope for people who are defensive and unable to see, because it took years, and I credit my ex-husband for this, it took years for me to learn how to take constructive criticism. But it also helps when there's a combination of positivity. It's a sandwich method, that positive, you've been doing so great on this, sweetheart, but you really got to work on this, and also knowing you're in a safe space. But a lot of times it's just a defense mechanism. And I don't know why a lot of times women think they can talk their way out of it, because I will say on a post, and I say to the ladies, it's literally in the post happening right now. But I'll say, you guys don't take constructive criticism well, or you blame other people. And then in the comments, well, men do it too. It's like, this is literally what we're talking about. Yeah. So, but to answer, I think it's upbringing. I think it's also our culture. There has been this huge backlash, or this huge anti-masculine campaign that's been going on for the past couple of decades. I dare say even maybe back to the 70s, where there's just this villainization of men. If you look at TV programming, because I studied in college a class on the history of racism, and part of that was in film, and it was talking about how subtly you can program people through TV programs that seem innocent. Well, this isn't obviously racism, but dealing with men and masculinity. Look at all the shows where the guy was either dumb, he was not respectable, he was missing from the picture because he was in prison, or just they didn't even explain why the dad was missing in the family. There's a commercial right now for internet, I think, where they're sitting at the table and they say, the plan is too expensive, one of you has to go. I don't know if you guys seen that. And they say, well, mom can't go because she makes a lot of money. This one can't go because and the dad's the one who has to go, which is implying he's not bringing anything to the table. There's a lot of subtle things that's been happening in our culture, America specifically. I don't watch European TV or other TV, so I can only speak to American culture. But there's a lot that has been done to make it seem like what men want don't matter. You guys are kind of just props and a means to an end, as opposed to, well-rounded creatures who have wants and needs and things like that. Clearly, I'm very passionate about it, so I'm sorry that I got on a soapbox, but that's my very long-winded answer to why I think that women don't take constructive criticism very well as a whole.
Thank you.
I feel like we should have a halftime show after that speech. Okay. What is my next one? I'm trying to rush through, guys. I think we have like 4 or 5 other ones. I'm going to take a quick vote in the comments. I don't know what attention spans are like. We are literally on hour 3 now. We're 2 hours and 10 minutes in. So by a vote, you guys can also vote in. I got the chat open now. I thought it was going to open on the screen, but it didn't. So that's good. Continue. Type continue if you want to keep continuing. Put part 2 if you would rather save the rest for part 2. Do a quick vote, you guys, in the comments. I would like to see how you guys are weighing in. The majority will rule. And then obviously the guys, you can tap out if you would like to tap out. But please type in continue or part 2 if you want to wait until next Tuesday. If you missed the very beginning, we're going to be doing this each Tuesday. My favorite guys are going to obviously have a standing invitation to return back, but new guys are welcome to join. And the women are going to be allowed on too for the next ones. If we do part 2, it'll still be just the guys, but part 2, the next ones will be women. We got 1 vote for continue. There's a little bit of a delay, so we'll have to wait a second, but I do see 1 continue. We got 2 continue, 1 vote for part 2. Wait, there we go. 1 vote for part 2. We got another continue. She said kids in the bed. Continue. Part 2. All right, we're 4-2. All right. Val is ready to slide, ready to slide in the DM. We got another vote for part 3. We're almost tied. Okay, he said we ain't tapping out. I love that. We got another vote. Okay, we're tied. We got to get some tiebreakers now. There are almost 50 of you guys watching, so we got to get some more comments. All right, we're tied. Let's get a couple more votes. We're literally split 4-4. Someone else has to comment. Y'all already fell asleep? Maybe they got their phone, they're drooling on their pillow, and their phone's just sitting there. Bust out your chat box, y'all. We gotta get a tiebreaker vote. No pressure on the next person voting. All right. Well, continue. All right. We broke the tie with Madeline. Thank you, Madeline. All right. So we will continue. Sorry, y'all who wanted part 2. You guys can come back and watch it later. All right. So the next thing we are talking about is, oh man, see, I'd be forgetting my little graphic. So we'll let it display right here for just a second. Ghosting women or telling them you're no longer interested. I hate that because when I do snippets for IG, it's not going to match. So y'all, if I don't change my slide, please let me know. Okay, I want to know what this means. I have heard somebody who has since passed away, but he made a big splash on social media. I will not say names, but he passed recently, but a lot of men appreciate what he had to say. And I would hear him say this often, getting on a guy's program. Okay, have you guys all heard that? I should say, raise your hand if you have not heard that phrase. So I don't want to especially use American lingo if it's not something that you guys have heard out of there. Okay, so we have 1 person if not. So there is a term, and I'm going to say what I assume from context clues what it means, and then I'm asking those who have heard of it to explain more. So basically a guy has a program, or I'm assuming it's like a vision for his life, and then he wants a woman to come into that program as opposed to finding a woman who already has her program, and now you got 2 people on their own programs. It's like being on a different channel. So that's my assumption based on context clues. So guys, who wants to take a stab at explaining what that means? And also, is that something that you guys desire? Or is that just a trending phrase?
I'll comment. I think it's, how do I want to start? I would start by saying that comment, and I know who you're talking about, is really targeting high value men, and I'm not discounting anyone's value. But like for anyone that's interested, I want someone who's, make certain income and has this sort of status in society, it would probably be difficult for a woman to come into his life and it's like, okay, I will adjust my life to your life and we go off happily ever after. I think it's that situation where if you're going to date a certain type of man who's like well established, you will likely have to adjust to his lifestyle, right? Like let's say if someone wants to date an athlete, right? That's kind of a common thing. Imagine if you're dating a professional athlete, I think the gentleman, play football, you will have to adjust to his life, his lifestyle, his schedule, travels, all that sort of thing, right? If you're dating the CEO of a major corporation, likewise. So I don't think it's like discounting a woman. I think it's just like being just sort of realistic. And in the reverse, like Kamala Harris, right? If her husband, because of the status and in the job that she has, he has to adjust to her lifestyle. It's just less common, right? In the dynamics between men and women. I think beyond kind of that high value man concept, I think it's just sort of traditional, right? Like a man's supposed to know his purpose and has his vision, right? That God's given him, and to go out and pursue that. And the woman is intended to be his helper, right? And we know in today's time, like, circumstances are a little different. So I think there's probably needs to be some sort of compromise, realistically. Yeah. But that's just my view.
Anyone else want to tackle that?
I never had that type of mindset. Woman has to be get on my program type of thing. I just never was my attitude or whatever. I'm more so of the like, we get to know each other. We build, we bond, and our lives just come together organically. I'm gonna know what you're about. You're gonna know what I'm about. And our lives are just going to intertwine. That's all part of the getting to know each other part. It's her physically and her personality meshes with mine. It's her lifestyle mesh with mine. Am I willing to put up with her lifestyle and vice versa, whatever. So I'm all about organic feels and whatever. I've never had like she has to do this, or I've never been that way. So I'm more of the more organic, lifestyles coming together and meshing, and going about it that way.
Yeah. Okay. I just teasing my Instagram people right now. We're talking about men and wanting women to get on their program. Watch us on YouTube. We're live right now, having a blast, and we have actually all eligible bachelors. I was going to show them on camera, but y'all have to see how they look. Go on YouTube. We'll tease you a little bit. Thank you guys for adding it. Anyone else want to comment on that before we go to the next one?
Yeah, just real quick, right? One of my elders used to tell me, he said, if you don't have a plan for your life, a woman will come into it and make one for you.
Oh.
So that's what I think of when I hear, you got to get to the program. It's like, I know where I'm going. I need you to trust me. It's not to discredit what you got going on, but you need to be able to trust me and, follow my direction and, that, I'll make sure we're good, right? Because, if you don't, a lot of these women now are successful in their own right.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
They quickly take over if they see like you're a decent man, but you don't have any direction. They will create that direction for you. And just to jump back to what Ivan was talking about, I think it really does more impact men that are, I won't call them high value, but men that make a lot of money. Mm-hmm. Like men that are rich, successful, famous in their own right. Right. With those men, you can't really come in and dictate anything. They have a life already.
Right.
They can change your life. There's nothing that you need to do for them except sit pretty and do what they ask you to do. So absolutely. I think that's where it stems from.
Okay. No, that's fair.
Like what I'm sorry, what Ivan was saying about the athlete part or whatever. Like so I did play football and I was married at the time when I was playing football. So my wife at the time, she had to adjust or get on my program type of thing, whatever. So whatever she had going on, that had to, she had to adjust to my lifestyle or whatever. I was way up in Wisconsin. So she had to move. We had our first child. So she had to come to Wisconsin with me, whatever. So, and then I went to another team, so she had to go there. So it was always, if I'm, a high value man, like I said, or an athlete or entertainer, CEO, whatever the case may be, sometimes the woman, or if the man has to adjust to the woman, I don't know, but it is a situation where, a woman would have to get on the guy's program, whatever. But in those rare high value athlete, but in a normal, I'm just a normal guy type of thing. I'm not even trying to put that out there like that. Oh, you need to get on my, nah, it ain't like that, whatever. So, yeah.
I got to shout out Myron Davis. He bought a badge on Instagram. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. We are going to move to another hot topic. Y'all, buckle your seatbelts. I might lose some followers on this one.
Yeah.
If you have your YouTube open, you can see. How about this statement from women? A man needs to evoke my feminine energy. I got it on lock, and then he needs to bring it out of me. What are your thoughts? I'm not even going to set it up any more than that. I see Devin getting ready. What are your thoughts on that? Because I see that comment all the time. When I meet the right man, I'm going to brush my teeth. That's what it sounds like. When I meet the right man, I'm going to start showering and putting on deodorant. And then it'll all be good. All right.
I mean, it's like saying
ahead.
the reverse of that, right? Like, if I meet the right woman, I'll bring out my masculinity. That sounds ridiculous if I said that about
you're the one.
masculinity. Right?
Girl, I got you.
That would sound ridiculous. And I mean, it doesn't sound as ridiculous, but I think we should look at it the same way, right? And then I also don't believe in flipping switches. Like, I don't think people function that way. I don't think we flip a switch and we become different, right? I think we have our default settings and it takes a long time to reprogram. And that, I think, is just that's just a way of saying if I'm not feminine, then you didn't make me feminine. So you didn't do your job, right? So that's that accountability thing.
Yep.
So I think you're on mute. Oh, I thought you were on mute. Yeah, that's my view. Sorry, I think I cut someone off.
No, it's absolutely. You did not evoke that. And I say this to women all the time. If you are with a guy and you're not comfortable being in your feminine energy when you're with him, the option isn't to turn your feminine energy off. It's to leave the guy. Because I have had situations where a man brings out the worst in me. Like he doesn't communicate well. I've calmly communicated to you. I have to tell you 4 or 5 times. I'm not a saint. After I've said it 4 or 5 times, I'm getting frustrated, I'm getting attitude, and I start to hear myself become a version of me that I don't like. So I would rather, instead of coming out of my peace, I'd rather give you the peace sign and be out of there, because I'm not going to keep staying in a situation like that. So that's the only caveat where you can kind of see a little truth to it, but the onus is still on the woman. Get to step in. And if you're married to him, why did you marry someone like that? You didn't vet him. You complaining about what a terrible leader he is. You're making yourself look bad because you chose him. Y'all not living in a country where it's arranged marriages. So if your guy is terrible, that's embarrassing for you. Like, anyway.
It's almost like the same. I've heard this a few times from women. I'm not doing wife things until I get married, type of thing.
Oh, let's get into it.
How the hell am I supposed to know that you're a wife if I don't see wife things?
Let's get into it.
That really gets me. And no, I'm not saying, oh, come live with me and blah blah blah. I'm not saying do the full 9 of a wife. No, I know there's a process, but so many times I've heard women say, do I have a ring on it, or blah blah blah. That's the whole point of dating. And vice versa. You have to figure out if I'm, worthy enough to marry. And I have to know that you are worthy enough to marry or do these special things to whatever. That's the most unrealistic thing I've heard women say, oh, until I get married, I ain't doing none of that. Like, so I'm going to just wait, just take a chance. Oh, okay. Hopefully she start doing what I needed to do. I'm gonna get down on one knee, bam. Then as soon as I ask you to marry, it's gonna start happening.
So let's make it clear then, because I can argue both sides. So I think, and these are exactly the type of conversations I love to have. So these are kind of catchphrases. I'm not saying you're using a catchphrase, but these are like things that float around: wifey duties, husband duties. Then let's identify what those are. So I'll tell you what comes to my mind of I ain't doing
It be
that.
simple things.
Uh-huh.
Like sometimes it be super simple. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh no. I'll say what I'm not gonna do if I'm not your wife. I'm not going to act like a domestic partner from a what do you call it? Like a house task at your house. So I'm not coming over to your house. I'm not doing your laundry. I'm not coming over and cooking every single night. You know, those things that I would say would be a domestic partner. Those were the things I would not do. So what things would you say would be something that a woman refuses to do that she's calling wifey duties, which you're saying is just, I just want to see how you are as a person. Let's get some specifics.
So I'm gonna go off that. Like cooking. No, I'm not demanding you cook. But see, we've been going at it for we've been together. We've been together for let's say 2 years. No, a year and a half. Right? A year and a half.
I'm gonna judge you if it's 2 years.
Huh?
I'm gonna judge you if it's 2 years. Go ahead.
Yeah, year and a half. And you know, we got through. It was a time we got through all that, getting to know each other. So after about however many months, we locked in. We know we committed. Okay, bam, we going. We just doing boyfriend girlfriend things, and you just decide you want to cook. I don't see nothing wrong with that. That's not. If you think you want to cook, I'm not. Oh, that's my wife. Oh, okay. You just want to cook for this one time or whatever, or however many times you want to do it. I don't consider that wifey things because, well, me personally.
Well, they're saying in the comments every single night. There's a difference.
Huh?
There's a difference between a woman saying, "I want to do something special for you," and she's giving it like a gift versus an expectation. So I think I'll speak only for myself. For me, if it becomes an expectation, I'm looking at you crazy if you have an expectation that I'm cooking for every day and I'm gonna be cleaning, you know, the dishes and all this stuff.
That's totally different.
Right.
I'm not expecting you. I'm not demanding you cook for me, and we just in the boyfriend girlfriend thing, whatever. So, but that's the simple things that I'm hearing. Like, damn. So you wouldn't cook for your guy that you're with if you just feel like you want to cook? That's like, come on, man. But
can you think of any other duties? Because, and this is not to put you on the spot, but this is what we have to unpack because, and I've done it too, where I'll say something, but then I have to, if I'm pressed for examples, it's actually hard to think of. So live, I'm going to ask you guys live, but those of you watching, and also those of you watching the replay, which if you're watching the replay, comment replay, when it is the replay, but let us know, men, what things you would like a girlfriend to do that women have scoffed at calling it wifey duties. Because I wonder if we're actually closer than we think, if we're not as far off. Because maybe the cooking thing, it's a matter of distinguishing, is it expected and is it every single day? And maybe we're more on the same page. So are there other things besides cooking? Madeline, since I love these conversations, I am so glad.
Running errands. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but running errands.
That one came to my mind.
Let me just say this before you go. Because people in the comments, they're just gonna hear me say cooking. I am not saying I need a woman to cook for me. People in the comments, I'm not saying that. I just use that as an example. If a woman wants to cook for a special occasion, hey, I want to come over and cook, I'm totally fine with that. I'm not demanding a woman to cook for me. I just want to say that because they're gonna be, oh, he didn't. Okay, my bad, Sean.
No, you good. And I cook. So for me, a woman's not impressing me by cooking. Not at all. I can cook anything. You go to a gourmet restaurant, I got you covered. That's not what I need a woman for. But the whole wifey duties, it's like things like I work 24-hour shifts. Like to be honest with you, I'm on the tail end of a 48-hour shift, so I'm gone. So simple things like I get stuff delivered. Let's say I got an Amazon box. Now normally I ask my daughter because she works nearby, so I ask her, hey, can you pick this up for me instead of leaving it on the doorstep for a day or two? But as a woman, if I know it's not truly out your way, if we're just dating, I will ask you. I will say, hey, would you mind stopping by my house and just putting this in my house for me, or putting this in my car? This way it doesn't get swiped off my porch. Mm-hmm. So some people might say that's wifely duties.
Okay.
But at the same time, conversely, women will ask, oh, would you mind cutting my grass? Or or like I work on cars. So
Mhm.
I'll have people out. I'm always people like, I need my oil change. It'll be like a hint, but they need an oil change, they need brake change, or whatever. Can you say that's husbandly duties?
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Because that's pertaining to taking care of your household. I'm asking you something that's a simple 5-minute task, whereas changing brakes is going to take at least 30, 45 minutes. So changing oil, same thing. And that's work. Not to say that picking up things, running errands, picking up my laundry. If we're going somewhere, I'm like, hey, could you pick up this suit because we got a dinner date next week. So this way we have it. So I personally feel like it's reciprocated because you know what, you need this done, so I'll do it, not because it's a husband thing to do. It's because I care about you enough to make sure it's done correctly or it's done properly, or I can do it and maybe just save you some money.
Yeah.
So I don't mind changing the way.
I would be okay with that, and that's definitely something in my relationship. We 1000% have each other's back. It's kind of like, if it's near me, I'll do it. If it's near you, I mean, figuratively speaking, or if it's in my wheelhouse, like I'm good with numbers. Okay, so I'll do this, that. I think for me, as I'm listening and formulating my thoughts, it would be more of expectations. So as a girlfriend, I'm going to do things out of the kindness of my heart, generosity. As a wife, I'm doing it because it's my role and it needs to be done. So if I surprise you and do your laundry, I'm here waiting for you. I notice you have a bunch of stuff and I do it. Okay, I did it as a gesture. But now if you're like, I came home and my laundry wasn't done, I'm gonna look at you funny. Same thing with cooking, things like that. If you ask me for a favor, okay, there's a box, but now you just assume every single time you get a package. So I think to me, it starts to fall under if it's an expectation, if it's an ongoing thing. But the biggest thing, more than that, is the length of time, which I was teasing. You guys moved, so I lost my brain. Devin, I think it was.
I don't.
Who said the 2 years thing?
Devin.
Okay, yeah. So I was teasing Devin because I feel like it's the pee or get off the pot type of a thing. If I am functioning in this role and it's amazing, then a man can take it for granted and just ride that thing till the wheels fall off. Now we 8 years in, 9 years in, whatever. So as a coach, I tell women, you have to have your expiration date in your head. You don't have to say it to him. You shouldn't say it to him because then it feels like a gun to the head and there's a pressure. You have to have a walking date. The grocery store says best used by. You need to have a date in your mind, and you talk early on in generalities. How long would it take you in general to know if you wanted to marry someone? How long would it take you in general to know you wanted to commit and be someone's boyfriend or girlfriend? And then if you're going near that time or past that time and that's nowhere near even broached in conversation, now you have some problems. And you don't tell the guy, piss or get off the pot. You just say, you know what, I think we want different things, and you exit. R.C. Blakes, which is a very famous bishop, somebody that is amazing, and he's plugged my stuff, so y'all, my stuff is legit, okay? I'm just playing. I was so excited when he said that I have an uncanny understanding of men, and I will forever quote him on that because I look up to him a lot. But he missed his blessing. His chick said, oh, you don't want marriage? I'm out. And she famously walked. And he didn't want marriage. But it was the pain of not having her that made him go, because he had been hurt from a previous marriage and was like, I'm never again. He went back and got her, and now they're decades in, and he's having a good time. So I don't believe she didn't give him an ultimatum. She didn't, try to play mind games. She just walked. So you have to know your value. So sorry, I got into coach mode there, but got to show my women. But I think that's the fear for women, is that there's going to be no incentive for a man. Why buy the cow if you're getting the milk for free type of a thing. So I think that's good that we're explaining the differences. KB, you had something to add. And she got with a professional baseball player. That's right. Thank you, Blondie. She moved all the way on with her life. She was not sitting around. Thank you for adding that, Blondie.
I think to touch a bit on it, I just think, that statement in itself, I don't want to project on myself a little bit of an entitlement. It kind of says I don't have to ready for the task till you show me something or kind of thing. Well, then again, what am I really working at? You know, and I think we need to tread that line because even some of the things I think I even talked about or Sean talked about, you know, for the guy, you know, a lot of us take that pride, natural pride in wanting like that first dinner or anytime we go out to eat, handling the bill. That becomes a set expectation societally at least that we kind of not necessarily feel the pressure. It's kind of become embedded in our being, right? Or I'm just take care of that. So I think we kind of need to tread those lines because in turn we won't say it, but okay, I hope you actually do appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? I don't mind taking care of the bill, but it's something that you also think is an expectation where every time you get to have this quote unquote meal that I don't mind paying for, but that becomes some type of an expectation. I think we have this currently. We battle this. I think we battle this currently now, you know, to a point where some men even talk about the whole 50-50 thing and what is worth. You know, I have friends who, depending on what the financial burden is, the woman will have to now, you know, take the dinner or the mortgage as the guy, or as compared to total full taking care of everything. So I just think, you know, we just got to tread. I think it's a little bit of a title coming from a guy's perspective because I don't think there's anywhere on earth where we get to say, you know what, I show up as this way and I get what I want and get to live the way I want, you know. So I think there are different aspects to, you know, different things that you've touched upon that contributes to that too.
It's interesting that you brought up that because that's actually something that's coming up. I don't think I put a title for it, but I got on my little sticky note to talk about how hard it is as a man to have to come up with everything up front. You know, being expected to foot the bill. I don't think a lot of women understand. They know how much things cost, but they don't know what it's like to have to take care of that plus pay for your partner. Because there's, you know, a lot of women, I got my own. It's different when you're having to pay for a partner as well and shoulder that bill. So maybe we do get into that a little bit here. But you said something, KB, about the expectation of a man taking, you know, the brunt. I'm going to play devil's advocate. Men say they want a woman who's submissive and will follow and get on his program for the most part. And being a leader means you lead.
Yeah, but does she have the desire to be led? That's two different things, right? You know, I could be a leader all I want. I want to take a horse to the water. If that horse is not willing to drink.
In the scenario that you're talking about, though, you're saying 50-50, or I have to lead with husband qualities, but she gets to pick and choose when she shows wifey. Devil's advocate would be that would be leadership. So if he leads with, I am paying for the dates, and I'm showing you, and I'm building up equity, like I'm showing you that I'm worthy of you, then she reciprocates with that. Same thing with the phone calls. You know, I strongly recommend men do the bulk of the phone calls and the texting. I don't say women don't text at all, but don't be blowing him up. You know, you respond to his messages and every now and then you initiate. But I think that we are lopsided. I don't think it's even. But I think it evens out in other areas where it's not even either. Because let's say, for example, if a woman is also working, there's usually an expectation she's going to do the bulk of the child raising and the domestic duties. So they're both working the same hours, but maybe his income is higher, but she's the one who's expected to leave the office and go pick up the kid when he's sick or get him from, you know, there are other things that are not even across the board. So that's my devil's advocate. What are you guys' thoughts? Because he brought up
Can I throw a devil's advocate?
Oh, absolutely.
Because Sean says something that I think advocates to that. You know, and I'm not trying to fight this because I think you're absolutely spot on. So what if, like Sean said, you got that proverbial guy, right? I'm not talking about just even high value or anything like that. He's very domesticated. You know, he knows how to take care of his own space, knows how to cook. And I think Ivan and even Brian alluded to this. Other than you adding some form of, and most guys would say peace, because those guys that I know that are in that space, oftentimes they just say peace. They don't even say anything specific that a woman is bringing, like a baby, or they talk about peace. So in that regard, if you have that guy, you know, as a devil's advocate and not from throwing that back at you. I just think it's more so just defining these lines because I think every individual is different, right? Because these things, like you say, even himself out. If the guy has a desire to pick a child up and it's literally matching that, and I don't think it should be a competition, but if he could do all those things, he could cook, you come home, dinner is done, the kids are picked up, they're showered, you guys get to have time, husband wife time. If these things are the case, and I think most guys have that level of equipment to do that. And I know guys that do that, but still have the same complaints most of the gentlemen here have. So
I
in
think.
that case, how do you navigate that? Because that could cause some turmoil within, and then you go into that internal space as a guy just thinking. So, it's just a learning place for me.
Yeah.
Just trying to see how you evolve and as you fall into these areas and these spaces. How do you relate with people, especially women?
So I want to address what you said about. I think Sean started by saying, "I don't need a woman to cook because I can throw down." Right? to paraphrase. Well,
I can't.
What'd you say?
Yeah, too.
I can't.
Right.
Very
No, I
much
believe
so.
you. You said it from your chest with the spatula. So, to brag on my guy, he could throw down. Like his grilling make you throw a shoe at your mama. Like it's just he man, beans that he does. I've never seen someone make beans the way he does. He can throw down. However, he loves to not cook. He loves to be able to just come home, for example, to a cooked meal or, make something. He had to go to the airport the other day and I made him breakfast at like 6 a.m. and made sure he had a home cooked meal before getting on the plane. He could have made it. He knows how to make eggs, put some turkey bacon in there, whatever. But that is a way of showing love. So I think we have to be careful. And this isn't directed at you, Sean. It was inspired by you, but not directed at you. I think we have to be careful as men. I say we like I'm a guy, but I think men have to be careful in not diminishing certain things because you can do them. And I'll say it this way. In my classes, I love metaphors because that's how I learn the best. Metaphors and analogies. I believe that a great woman can be likened to a combination of a cheerleader and an executive assistant. And an executive can dial his own phone calls. He can make his own meetings. He can book his own flights. Why would he want to if he has somebody there who can do it for him? That's less bandwidth that he has to use on those things that he could be using to negotiate, keep abreast on pricing, blah, 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 all those things. I have been an executive assistant. We actually ran things a little bit more than the execs in some capacity. Sometimes we knew what was happening more in the office than the execs. We made them look good because we set them up. Okay, go over here. Say this. Remember, he likes, brownies. We're doing all these things, but it's obviously not a competition. We're working together in tandem. So I think that if, for example, Sean, you love cooking, you might not want your woman in the kitchen, or you might be way better than her. So you're like, please stay out of the kitchen. But in a situation like mine where my guy does know how to cook, but that's his love language for me to cook for him, I'm going to do it. And I would never want him to downplay me doing it just because he can. I think we both can do it. I can make money too, but I sure as heck like being a stay-at-home wife, so I'm not going to diminish a guy who's getting up and going, or, maybe I'm not making anything, but I love the fact that my income is not paying our household bills. It's fun money for vacations or whatever. That's a huge pressure off my shoulders, but I don't want to diminish, him because I can do it if I need to. I didn't do my neck roll for that. So I just wanted to throw a little soapbox speech.
Could I add something?
You got to.
And I'm gonna say a phrase that's slightly it's really out of context, but it sort of describes the way that I think about this, and I'll call it division of labor. So I think when you, especially like if you live together and you're in a serious situation, I think there's a set of responsibilities, and I think for the relationship or the couple that's involved, how you divide these things will differ from couple to couple, right? The other thing I will mention is around the conversation around reciprocity. So when we talk about, what is an expectation, of a woman or even a man, right? So if I would say to the ladies that are listening, if you if you're dating and you have an expectation of that man, open the door. You know, if he comes over and the trash is full, take the trash out. The car is dirty, go take the car and get it washed. And maybe it's unprompted. And maybe you ask and that's fine. So if there are things that are men responsibility, then by default there should be things that are women responsibility.
Right.
And I'm not trying to say whatever that thing is, but I think we can't operate in a environment where it's like, well, you pay the bill, you open the door, you do these things. Okay, well, what are my expectation of you? Oh, you can't expect anything of me. So whatever that is, and so I would say, in terms of reciprocity, if you're in a situation, you have these expectations, well, I want a traditional. He needs to open the door, he needs to pay the bill, he needs to do these things. You have to look at yourself and say, this man is going to want reciprocity. So I have to look for ways, whether he's saying it's an expectation of you or not, I have to look for ways to give to him in that way, right? And then in terms of like a household, a marriage, or a serious relationship, living together, what have you, I think there will be a set of responsibilities. Maybe one of the responsibilities is earning. So if it's a very traditional situation where the woman's at home and the man is out working in the world, right? Then the woman is the CEO of the household. That would be when I was married. I had a stay-at-home wife. We bumped heads a couple of times because I worked and I did my job really well. I was a very good provider. And then I would come home and it's like, split these things with me. I'm like, well, we're not splitting these bills, you know? So I think if we look at like, okay, there's a set of responsibilities here. How do we divide these responsibilities up? And that only will, that will depend on the two individuals involved.
Right. And
if the woman is the primary breadwinner and she runs a medical practice, right? And this guy has kind of, he's a, you know, and I'm knocking anybody, but let's say he's a musician. So he's kind of has a lot more flexibility. So maybe he's the one picking the kids up. Or maybe he's the one that is running the errands during the day. That's fine, right? So I think it has to be looked at it that way. You can't have an expectation that you have a partner, he provides, he does this, and he does that. But I'm not fixing his plate, you know, when the dinner's ready, right? I just think it should just, not that it necessarily should balance out, but I think we should be, this is going to sound crazy, but like serving one another.
Yeah, no, it doesn't sound crazy.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's definitely biblical, and it's about what makes sense. Like what makes sense. What did you say? Division of labor. What, is that what the term you use?
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like a good team, a good leader looks at each person's strength. So you might be on a team, Ivan, with Bryant and KB. And they might only have one role, but you might have two. But that's because I know you can take that. I know you're the best at that. And so it's not necessarily always going to be exactly the same. But it's, if we are a we and we are a team, we're looking at it as what's the best outcome. And I think it's important for each person to know what they would need to feel good doing that. So it might be, if I'm working full time as a woman, I don't want to do the domestic stuff. But if I'm not working, I'm okay with, like, you have to know within yourself what would make you feel good. This is really good. Okay. I'm going to try my best to knock out these last couple ones.
So before you go to that one, Yonci, I was trying to speak to the actual question. You know, I was trying to make sure I don't forget my train of thought, because you talked about wife duties and husband duties, and talked about how, women said, I'm not going to get feminine, or I'm not going to be a wife until I see that masculine man. And because I had an experience with that, and I want to speak to that. I'm sorry if the light is low. The light I'm using died, so I'm using another flashlight. But you already, my face is still clear in your mind, I'm sure. Yeah. So sorry. Now, you speak to friendship, we speak to reciprocity, we speak to things that, because first of all, you have to define what it is you want, because I know that different societies and different clients also know what they want. Some people want to just have partners. They're not looking to marry. So that's a different factor. For some of us who are more, we want to, like this lady was telling me she doesn't want to do relationships again. So she wants to get married. And then she clearly stated the fact that, and this was after, we had the conversations, stated the fact that she wants a guy who's not struggling from the outset, but is stable enough to take care of her and a kid. And then she spoke to the fact that most women, a lot of men don't understand it, but women are attracted to power. And I'm using our words, masculine, you're leading, you're providing. I'll give you the reality of what's happening because I have a dating podcast, and in Abuja, I set it up because I'm very passionate about relationships as well. And I've been researching, and the major factor, I even talked about it on the radio, on air, just to know what the challenge is that we cannot deny the fact that the climate, the environment affects how much you can bring to the table. So I had 40-year-old men who were calling me, men in their 40s, they said, it takes, look, I want to get married, but I just don't have enough now. Like I'm family oriented. I want to get married, and that's why I'm speaking to my own perspective now as the program director of the station I work. I'm trying to pivot into relationship counseling. I host events. I hype concerts. I'm a voice actor. I'm a narrator. That's why you put Nigerian anywhere in the world, even in the US. I'm sure you have the statistics. We're doing phenomenal in the right position in the right time. So some women say, I'm not going to become a wife if, he's not. First of all, before you can get into marriage, you have to have what it takes. So give me myself as an example. As a single man who, by my faith and values, I'm keeping myself chaste. I'm not in the field like I used to be. If I can't discipline myself by God's grace now, it'll be hard for me to keep it in my pants when I'm married. So as a woman, what are your values? Do you have a purpose? Everyone should have a purpose. You should have what you're doing. You should have the basic thing you're doing is a purpose of business or work that gives you that value, you're adding value to life, and you can take care of certain needs that you have. So you meet somebody you like. Your friends, what do friends do with each other? They look out for each other. So this is where what Devin said comes through. When we've been relating to a certain extent, there are certain things that I don't need to ask you to do because I'm doing certain things. Like Ivan said, I'm paying some of these bills. Like Kwabena said. So reciprocity now means that you're going to try and add value in some other way, even if it's not the exact way I'm doing it. Now you also need to communicate so that you know what you're willing to do and what you're not willing to do, and how long you're willing. Like you said, Yonci, have the woman should have in her head the time, how long she wants to be friends or dates before she gets married, if that's what she wants, and tap out if it's not going in that direction. That also matters. For me, I have a certain amount of time I have to be with a woman. I don't think I need to stay long anymore. For me personally, I think if I know you within 3 months to 6 months, and we've been having all the conversations because that's what dating is about. Talk about finances, talk about sex, talk about values, have more conversations, try as much as possible to meet each other halfway. And I know what I want. And then we start to do counseling. And you meet my the people that are, important in my life, or my pastors, and we know each other, and we get married. You can't know someone for, forever. You still take time knowing them, even when you're in a relationship or when you're married. So this is where you reciprocate. This is where you have conversations about what you want to do for each other and how you reciprocate in areas where the person is strong, like you said about leadership. And that is where wife and husband materials. You cannot actually deliver all the wife duties when you're just dating, and you cannot give all the husband duties. So if you're paying the bills most of the time, sometimes you can say, let me take you out. It'll be a very nice gesture, but don't be entitled to it. Sometimes as a man, you can say, let me drop you off at work, or let me pick you up. But she shouldn't also be entitled to it. So it's about being friends, about what you can do for each other. Do unto the next person what you want them to do to you. Have conversations about where you're going to be sharing that labor, and have a timeline, a definition of what the goal is for you guys being together, so you can know what you're working with, and you don't feel burnt out, you don't feel frustrated, and you don't feel like you're not getting enough reciprocity as well. So that's it. If your wife, they say he who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor from the Lord. As a man, when you see qualities in a woman that are wifely, you don't need to stay with her 2 years, 3 years to know that she's wifely. You talk with her, you get to see her. As a woman, the same thing. So you decide how long you're going to stay, and then you get married. But if you want to do longer, or you want to have partnership or date or just relate, then you have that conversation and you know what is entailed. And that's where you can now do these things for each other, defining what you're doing to add value in your lives. So I just wanted to add that as well. Thank you.
No, I appreciate
I think
that.
Devin and Ivan kind of summed it up perfectly for me as I'm sitting here. I just think we need to get back to the actual desire to serve. I'm not sure if that's a thing. I think it's an inherent desire when somebody does something out of, not necessarily out of their way, out of the natural joy to serve you. I think we all kind of love that. And I think relationships actually will thrive on that. So, I think those two gentlemen kind of, obviously triggered my thoughts and how to think about it. I just think that inherent desire to, that's my wife, that's short, that's my boy, that's my brother. We do this in everyday basis. So I think we need to get back to, like you said, who am I? What are my core values? Is service and servitude part of it? And just tapping into that channel and just being intentional about it. So I'm learning. That's what this is. It's free game.
I by the way, I appreciate you guys. I put it in the chat box that I hit the jackpot with this panel. You really never know. Like I've had some stories I could tell you, some like explicit, like I've seen it all, literally actually in that situation. But I'm so grateful that you guys are mannerful. You guys are calm. You're actually contributing. I know that Ivan has to go. He's on the East Coast. I appreciate you cutting your plan short to join. I really, really appreciate that. And so thank you so much. I've told the guys they can dip as they need to. The other guy, he is Carl. I'm already forgetting his name. He's on duty firefighter, so he's been dipping in and out as he's been getting calls. That's why he's muted. So thank you so much, Ivan. We're gonna be wrapping soon, but you're welcome to dip. And then of course you have a standing invitation to come back. Can you guys drop some hearts for him? Show him some love in the comments. We are going to close out with these couple of questions that I have. We're going to be finishing up this one, and I bummed he didn't get to see this one. I have a video for you guys, okay? I was watching this, and it's so funny watching people laugh genuinely. It's really funny. But I'm going to play the clip, and then I'm going to set it up, okay? But the concept is about women and listening, and I am a little bit concerned. Oh, that's why. Hold on one second, guys. I just realized that one of the little ghetto things that I have to edit this. Let me just move it. It had changed the screen. I was like, what is happening? All right, so let me just adjust this. All right, here we go. Have a listen. Hopefully the sound works.
Someone who actually listens and lets the guy lead and not question everything.
Listen, wait. Some of these things you just...
Oh, yeah, let him get it out, Lo.
I feel you, but...
We ask me what I'm looking for.
We're going to go back after. Let him get it out.
You ask me what I'm looking for. Let me tell him what I'm looking for.
Nah,
A woman that... This about to clown me.
Stop the music.
How is Yonci typing that fast? She has some pre-saved.
All right, so making sure they can hear in the comment.
I'm looking for a woman that listens. Hey!
This shit hilarious. He say he looking for a woman that listens. Like just the ones he been with, them the only ones that don't. Like it's the ones that listen.
And lets the man lead and doesn't question.
You might as well find a unicorn, nigga. Look how Marvin Gaye looking at you.
It's about All right, guys. So unfortunately, because of my technology, you guys can't hear it. They can hear it on YouTube. But essentially, it was a podcast clip, and you guys can go back and watch it. Just look at like the exact 3-hour timestamps. It's 10 my time. But they were asking what he wanted in a woman, and he started out by saying, I want a woman who listens, and when I explain something, she's not, and they just fell out laughing, like dying hysterically. And he said, you think that it's just the women you're dealing with that don't listen? Like you've just managed to get the one, basically saying universally women don't listen. You're asking for something absolutely ludicrous. And so his caption on Instagram was, it must really be bad, the lack of listening skills for it to make men laugh this hard, you know. I guess it would be like saying, I want a woman who takes accountability. So I wanted to know if you could explain, because obviously when we were asking in the comments, like, what do you mean specifically? There's a difference between listening, like I heard what you said, I could repeat it back, and then the listening that they were talking about. So one, can you relate to that? And two, if you can, what do you think the men are experiencing so you can explain to the women to make it make sense for them?
I feel it goes into that category of the reciprocation part. So just that getting to know stage or whatever. If I'm telling you about myself, your action, or most of the time I'm just talking, just giving out information, and I feel like you're not listening because you go straight into something about you, like you're not bouncing questions off me or anything, or really trying to get into, okay, so tell me about that. Oh, so what happened? Like that,
Active
this
listening.
natural conversation.
Okay.
Like that's when I know, oh, so she's not listening or whatever, and it's just all about her type of thing. So, fortunately, I haven't had that a lot, but I've experienced that. You know, I'm sitting there talking, and she's just like off in the space, or she's checking her phone, or I don't know. So maybe it's me, or I don't know what it is, but she's not listening, or she's just off, doing her own thing type of, So, but it's all about the bouncing off each other, the reciprocation. Because if she's talking, I'm listening. I'm like, okay, and I'm gonna follow up with something. I'm gonna follow up. I'm gonna dive more into what she's talking about.
Right.
So, this the follow up questions, or you could just look like you're interested, So sometimes they don't even look like they're interested. Again, maybe that's how I came. Maybe I made her not interested or whatever. But just the reciprocation, the bouncing off each other type of thing.
Okay. Anyone else want to add to that?
So I guess the question is, why don't women listen? Am I getting that correctly?
I guess maybe not necessarily the why, because we might not know why, but
okay.
I want women to understand from a man's perspective what it feels like. Like women will say, men are inconsistent. Okay. We know what that means, but maybe explain from a man's perspective, I guess, what does it look like for you when a woman's not listening? What demonstrates to you that she's not listening?
For me, I throw these terms around. It's like, I always say, Mama, you don't even listen. I just joke around, right? But personally, I just think that translation, in every communication pattern, obviously, right, it's two parties or more. You have to take that information on. And I think that piece where you actually translate what is being said as compared to react as to how it makes you feel, I think we've kind of intercrossed both. Now I was listening to a speaker, Dr. Anita Phillips. She's a clinical psychologist, and she was talking about how, even in communication, people don't take the time to sit, sift, and scan how they feel. And that kind of hit me hard, because obviously in every emotion, you kind of have a certain feeling and emotion to it. So, in my own personal experience, I don't think that moment of silence to translate really what that person's really trying to get at, as compared to, something that I'm familiar with, and you're excited to talk about, but did you get the information you were trying to get to? Or was your reaction to the impulse or the stimuli that you reacted to? So I think translation is a missing art, being able to translate what is actually inherently being trying to convey. So, I think translation has kind of gone out of the window. Has given us some turmoil in terms of how we're able to understand each other.
Okay. I couldn't figure out why this wasn't moving. Okay. In the sorry, somebody said I didn't change the topic. Thank you, Samantha. I needed you guys to help me. In the clip, he started to say something which I wish he would have been allowed to finish, but he said, I want a woman who listens and somebody who doesn't question everything. So when I got that little piece, it changed the context. So if I say to, for example, my kid, go clean your room, and then I come back and they haven't cleaned the room, I'm going to say, you don't listen. I don't mean they're not hearing me. I'm saying you're not obeying and doing what I'm asking you to do. So I've noticed, and this is a slippery slope because someone will be like, I know you're not telling me what to do. But part of getting on a man's program takes faith. Like, I trust this. I'm getting in the car and I'm trusting he's going where he's taking us where he needs to take us. And I think there are some times where, for the sake of time, or just he's tired of constantly explaining, a man wants to feel like he can just say, go to the right. And she doesn't say, why are we going to the right? What's over to the right? How long? Just go to the right and then we'll deal with everything else. And I hate to use the comparison of a parent to a child, but for me, I don't like back talk. And if I say to the kids, get in the car, I don't feel like explaining where we're going, how long we're going to be there. My favorite thing to say is, if you give it a few minutes, all of your questions will be answered. Oh, we're at Walmart. Oh, we're here buying a new basketball. Like I didn't have to explain that to you because I'm trying to do all these million other things. So I'm wondering, is that something you guys have experienced where for you, it almost seems insulting, like she's questioning your abilities because she's asking all these questions, which feels like she's poking to see if there are any holes in your plan? Or does it feel like a lack of faith? I'm grasping at straws. I don't know if that's the case, but is that something that you guys have experienced in relationships? Because that would be different from dating, but in relationships.
Yeah, I've experienced that before. I think it's undermining, right? You're undermining me. But to be honest, I noticed it in a certain type of woman. And it goes back to your conversation about feminine women and masculine women, right? So there's women that they're bred to be leaders. That's just who they are, their personality. And because of that, they have issues trusting someone to lead them because most of their lives, they've always been in charge. So that's why they are who they are. And so we look at it as undermining. To them, they're looking at it like, well, what's the saying? Trust but confirm, right? So that's how they're looking at it. And most men just don't want to deal with that because they're like, if we're going to keep getting questioned, eventually what happens to a man who keeps getting questioned like that, he eventually breaks down, which it feels like she wants in the first place because she just wants to take over and lead anyway. So, because I feel like a woman who respects your leadership, she's really not going to ask all of those questions unless you're doing something that is like a little bit off the wall, and she's going to be like, oh, wait a minute, this doesn't seem right. But for the most part, she's going to be like, okay, I'm going to trust your judgment.
Yeah. Sorry, I had to say something real quick. Someone was going to be joining, but tell them to come next week. I'm going to continue next week. It's insane. This always would happen when I do this before. We'd be here 3-4 hours. The one that we didn't air, because we used to have Friday night conversations. This all used to just be for fun, and I do this on Facebook. We had a 9-hour conversation. Someone came home from work, stayed up all night, and went to her next shift while we were still on. It was insane. So we can go on, and we're not trying to break that record. So I'm going to be sensitive to those who are on the East Coast. It's 11 o'clock for you guys. Those of you in another continent, it's crazy late. So thank you for that. I'm excited because the next questions are really juicy. Let me know in the comments if you guys are enjoying these questions. I work really hard to try to have meaningful conversations as opposed to beating the same topics with a dead horse, which I feel happens a lot when I'm watching stuff. It's like the same stuff gets regurgitated, and it's a lot of like gender war type of stuff. So let me know if I have executed my vision. My vision is to have thought-provoking conversations. And so I really want to, but we have a couple of things that we're going to be talking about next week. So the guys who weren't able to join this week, you guys can join in. We're going to talk about how a woman can express herself without sounding like nagging. How does she do that? How does she communicate with you that doesn't come across in an unpleasant way? What's the difference between nurturing a man, taking care of him, loving on him, and mothering him, aka smothering him, making him feel little? What it's like paying the bills in 2023. Is that the income to living expenses have completely been, what is the word, skewed. What, I can't think of the word. Like, it hasn't gone incrementally. Today I just lost all my vocabulary. And so I want to see what that's like. Women can hear men's take on that. And also for those who did get married, we were going to say, why did you get married? But I don't know if we might want to go into that since the ones who were married were divorced. And then finally, your final piece of advice for single men. And then what you wish more women knew. So all of those we will talk about on the next week. I'm going to do my absolute best to limit to an hour. I've never been able to. Yes, you should appropriately be looking at me, Devin. I know exactly the gift. I communicate in gifts, and I received that gift that you just said.
You're not going to get it, damn well ain't going to be no hours. Don't even put that out there.
Okay, I'm gonna aim for 2 hours. Okay, I'll aim for 2 hours. So we'll end at 10 o'clock.
You're on 3.
Well, I said that's what I said. I'm gonna.
They were 40 minutes trying to get everything right.
Exactly. So I'm gonna aim to be done at 10 o'clock East Coast time, which would be a 2-hour show. I'm gonna aim, you guys. All right. So yeah, thank you again for letting me, troubleshoot with you guys. I'm telling you what I have in ghetto-ness. Hopefully I make up for in content and rich, stuff to listen to. That being said, what time is it for you guys? Are you both in Nigeria? I can't remember. One of you said Nigeria.
Nigeria is like 4:12 a.m. He's in Ghana.
Ghana.
KB, are you in Ghana?
Oh no, I'm currently not in Ghana. My dad is. I need to make it back home safe, but hopefully, in a few years I'll be in the motherland. But I'm in Connecticut, which is on the East Coast as well. So
okay.
I'm in the U.S. So I see y'all just chilling.
I mean, so you're 4 a.m. and I have a buddy in Ghana, and so whenever we communicate, we have to compare time zones. So one of us is sacrificing. So thank you for that. He said definitely.
I'm showing my seat for my wife.
You said I love that. I love that.
Yes.
You have definitely received a lot of love. All of you guys actually have received a lot of love. They said they couldn't believe how young you were, KB. They were impressed by your answers. Devin, we are definitely going to do a singles thing. If you can do it this week, I would love to do that. It's easier because you're Pacific time, so you're earlier in the week.
Yeah, I'm on the West Coast. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm biased, my West Coast people. So that being said, you guys give me your feedback. You guys can comment on here. You could slide in my DM on Instagram if you want to share. This is your show. This is meant for you. And so I want to make it the best that I can. We're going to be adding lots of fun stuff. Tell all your friends and please support, because there is so much trash stuff happening. There's so much stuff that's dividing people. We have to be just as aggressive in sharing, the stuff that's not, because I told you I don't do the sound bites. I'm not trying to catch y'all saying something crazy and then put it as a clip. I really want to encourage relationships. So give me any feedback that you guys have. Please like it. Please share. Please subscribe. And I think that's about it. That's about it.
All I want to say is, being that I'm the youngest, obviously, I really appreciate the gentleman on the panel. Obviously, you as well, for obviously spearheading this. Like Devin, once I ran into that post, which I saw, it's kind of like, it feels refreshing to have this perspective here, So for me, just, again, I know oftentimes I come off young, right? But I feel as though, being an African child, that wealth of wisdom, that Black boy privilege, I hold my hat on. But I just want to thank my older brothers on the journey, who have seen more, navigating more, I could take these aspects of it and embed into my own life, because it's all about making the right decisions for me. That's what manhood is about. So I thank you all, and, God's blessings on the journey, and God willing, I can see you guys next week as well.
I love that. Aww.
Good stuff, baby. Yeah, thank you, Yonci. I really appreciate this. Like I said, this is a passionate subject for me, and I'm glad we connected, and I'm thankful for you having me on. And there's so much stuff, so many things I want to say, and I feel like, you're trying to rush and get your answers off, whatever. So I could go on and on myself about, a few topics. And some of the topics you said you're going to be discussing next week, I definitely want to get into. So, so as soon as you said a few things, I'm like, oh, yeah, that's what I need. So, But like I said, I appreciate your perspective. Like you said, the guy said about you have a real sense of the man's point of view, and that's why I fell in love with your content or whatever. So, like I said, thank you. Keep doing your work. Keep doing it, and I would love to continue to talk to you.
Thank you. And I definitely will be reaching out. I can see some collaborations happening on Instagram for sure. Do some extra content for the patrons. Because I do remember the initial conversation. I could tell you were fired up. This is something that I did for free for years just because I loved it. And I only do it the way I do it now because a coach pulled me aside and was like, "Man, you should be doing this professionally." So I love it. I would do it for free. But it's nice to have the bills be paid. So we'll definitely connect, set something up for this week. And I appreciate the kind words. Thank you. And thank you everyone in the comments.
Shout out to Brian, shout out to Devin, shout out to everybody on this panel. Really wise men, experienced. Appreciate all that you said. I learned a lot, and I'm gonna be looking out for connecting with you. Check out on Instagram, and if you also remember mine, you can just follow, and we'll keep connecting here. Yonci, the Lord multiply your seed sown and increase the fruits of your righteousness. All right. As somebody who knows that we're infopreneurs, we need to be known for what we know. But when you keep giving value like you've done, the rewards will come. So I'm looking forward to all the collaborations we can have from Nigeria to the US to Ghana to wherever, because I'm looking to be a relationship counselor. I'm looking to be a relationship. I have a podcast, like I said, I want to do more of that, especially pushing edifying content for children, teenagers, and adults. Because if you're saying, don't look at the trash, don't look at this, don't watch this, what's the alternative? So as a media person, my concern is to push, and I'm talking about this because that's from my faith place of faith. Want to push content that is edifying, that builds people up, that uplifts people, and we need to show more images of couples who are living right in blessed and unified homes. We need to do that the way we grew up seeing people living in vices and doing the wrong things, and that became like a sort of add-on to our lives. That's how we need to put out through media, through everything that people see, that we can have wholesome relationships and marriages. And I'm really on board with anything that I can do to support, to help, to collaborate as well. Thank you so much, everyone. I'm going to sleep easy now with all this wisdom. And also
go to sleep hard.
Interaction with you with more understanding about the leadership aspect. And, I look forward to sharing my testimony with you guys when I'm married.
My brother, smell the air in the motherland for me. Smell the air in the motherland for me. I miss it.
It's definitely been a pleasure, fellas, and thank you, Yonci, for having this platform, and just especially thank you to the audience too, because I feel like it's an environment that isn't hostile, where men can actually say something and be expressive, and women are actually listening instead of being defensive. So I appreciate y'all as well.
Thank you for saying that. Actually,
all the black queens, African queens, women from all around the world that are here. Shout out to you. We love you. We can't do anything without you ladies. That's why we're here trying to do our thing. Be the man, be the leaders, that you love. So take all that we're saying, all we're expressing, because we love y'all. You know what I'm saying? Like, straight from Abuja, Nigeria, we love y'all. All right? And come through sometime.
Thank you, Brian, for saying that, because I tend to shy away from being a guest on many panels until I've seen their audience, because there has been major hostility. People get real wild, they get real reckless because they're behind the keyboard, the keyboard warriors. So shout out to the women keeping their emotions in check. I just want to know one thing. If y'all get booed up from the DMs, please let me know so I can celebrate the love, because the women were feeling y'all. Okay.
Most deaf. You know.
I'm telling you, we have
I
4.
told you, my first word about dating is still what it is. This is not about booed up. This is about the understanding. But if the booed up come from it, like we're talking about flow,
you never knew it
too.
Look, I have had 4 marriages that came out of my Facebook group. And so it's a beautiful thing. I love that. Special shout out to Sean. He was literally on duty and kept getting called. So thank you for coming. And Ivan, I'm terrible with names. Ivan, thank you for coming. He had friends coming to town and he dipped. So come on here. So thank you for that, you guys. I think that's it. Did everyone get to speak their piece?
Yes, ma'am.
I gotta see if I remember how to end this. Just playing. All right, guys. Have a beautiful night. If you stick around for a second, make sure you mute yourself. And I'm going to sign off here. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you.